it is about time to get the day underway. We begin with DeMu versus Zerton in a best-of-7 to see who's going to make it through the EGC finals.
Indeed, we're here on Himiyama, and starting off in the color blue, we got Zerton playing as Jeanne d'Arc. We see Jeanne already going out there, building those buildings. You do want to use her to build your production buildings, gathering buildings, all that good stuff in the Dark Age, and to give her as much experience as possible. And on the opposite side of the map, in the color red, we've got DeMu playing as the English here. Himiyama, it's a very interesting map, I feel like, especially when it comes to the sheep. You got like this little hill that you spawn on with a belt around it.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed so far is that many times most of the sheep actually spawn around that belt. And there's something interesting here. Many times there's something that I like to call Kiljadi scouting, which is you go straight for your opponent's base instead of your own, like around your own base. You go straight for your opponent's sheep instead of your own. And on a map like this, it can be very damning, but what we see here is DeMu, he actually went out of his base to try and scout for sheep. So it looks like Zerton actually got a couple of sheep there from the side of DeMu.
Okay, nicely done there. Now, the interesting thing I was kind of keeping an eye on as well is like we've seen some civs like to play with central ponds. I think one play we might see develop in the meta is English doing that against civs that would go for the pond, right? Because I'm reminded of, for example, the classic, which is somewhat inspired by Cauldron, where English was a good counter to things like the Delhi, the Chinese, the Abbasids, anything that wanted to fish. But not really going to work in this matchup. I've seen one or two players experiment with the idea of sending Jeanne d'Arc to do fishing, which realistically is a better yield on XP compared to gathering from food. The issue, however, is the idle time of walking all the way out to that pond.
Yeah, exactly. And overall, the pond is just very open on map like Himiyama. Going out there, it leaves you open to so much aggression. Now, beautiful thing here by DeMu. He's going to be killing those wolves very, very early on, and with that, he's going to be denying a lot of experience there from Jeanne d'Arc, and we can see it there. Animation canceling, at least for scouts. It's made a little bit of a return at the moment. So a lot of very, very rapid fire attacks there coming out from that scout.
It's the Jeanne d'Arc nerf, okay? It's all planned, right? It's an interesting one right now because I know some people have some mixed feelings on Jeanne and the way she gets XP. I personally think it would be really cool to just see like wolves maybe not give much, if any at all, and just like boars are kept as a big primary XP source. Because the thing I like about that is you notice it very quickly on the mini-map, it becomes a strategic resource that both players benefit from playing towards. Whereas someone that's always felt a bit finicky about the wolves by comparison, you know, it is casino, right? You never can guarantee how those wolves are going to spawn. There are some patterns, like I think on Himiyama, as you saw there, typically you get 2 to 4 wolves situated around that central pond. Outside that, it can get a little bit roller-dicey.
Yeah, I guess what you can do is you just take a piece of paper, you paint a square, and then you just mark with your scout whenever you see a wolf, so you kind of get like your own kind of mini-map there.
All right, that's cursed. I'm vetoing that one, Crackedy, no.
That could be a serious thing. I'm not sure. I think maybe somebody does that. I could totally imagine like somebody in the top 4 just has like their notepad next to them at Red Bull at the LAN at that big PC, and they see a wolf, they make a little X there on that square.
Man. I know who does that. The person's rich enough to buy a lot of monitors. Like just every single game, they just mark their monitor with like a permanent marker, then replace it with a new one afterwards.
That sounds like magic.
You reckon? Yeah, Magic is the sugar daddy, guys. If you're ever at like an event with Magic, remember drinks are on him.
Exactly. Don't even ask. Looks like DeMu is gonna go for a second TC very early on here now against Jeanne d'Arc. So this means that he's not going to be denying the boars at all here. He won't have the resources to put up any aggression onto those boars, so it's just going to be a very fast second TC here from him.
Yeah.
The issue with that is going to be 2TC has been significantly nerfed. Now it's still English. You still get the network of castles buff with that second TC. But is it going to be enough? I'm not sure here. This leaves him up open to a lot of potential aggression points now from Zerton. I think this must be a very defensive TC.
Honestly, like my worry as well is like I think the best way that Zerton could play this, right? You get the woman at arms, you get 1 or 2 knights, and you rush the undermesh. And the reality of what DeMu's done here is he can't match that timing because he's chosen the TC, right? That's a very expensive investment. even if you get into the blacksmiths, the cost there is going to be pretty high into the undermesh. Comparatively, when you play with women at arms plus knights, you actually have more incentive to immediately drop a blacksmith because she will benefit from that melee upgrade. So it seems like a small difference, but we've seen on these dives, especially now with less garrison spots in the primary, in the secondary TCs rather, actually really is a significant difference maker. So instead, DeMu just going as tight as possible. Very dangerous on a map like this. Like, sure, you have a garrison point, but we've seen maps similar to this historically. If you play a bit too tight like this, it's reminiscent of the multi-Chinese on one screen approach. You burn through your resources, all of a sudden no one can defend you.
Yeah, pretty much. And now we see the woman at arms coming out. So Zerton is going to be now looking for his spores very likely. He's got a knight right now running to that second TC, but I think it's already up at this point in time. Yeah, DeMu, he rushed it up with like 15 villagers, so very, very quick second TC.
Yeah. Can we check between the two TCs as well? Usually, like, you can tell, what the goal is. Okay, so he's got enough for the farm extensions through. So you're probably going to see him mill to the north side, and then the south side, he can look to fill that out as well. Some players have been known to just save that spot between the TCs and the council hall for a white tower drop, just in case their opponent's going for an all-in timing.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at it right now, and I like the spawn here for DeMu. He's got a gold in the front, but he's also got another gold in the back, and woodline's there as well, so it's not too hard to wall it in one direction or the other. And there we go, walls immediately coming out. This is a nice spot for him, for sure.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be he shouldn't face too many issues when it comes to getting gold. And there we go, John now gonna be hitting that first spawn on the map. It's gonna give her plus 50 XP.
Music. Yeah, this is such a pain in the ass. Like, honestly, this is the reality that DeMu knows. Right now, XP is being gained off the map because I'm not playing it. The sad reality is if you come out and play with this comp right now, you're just feeding, right? Like, that's the thing, is like, this plays a little bit more like a MOBA experience where you have to respect the hero. One thing to keep in mind is until that undermesh comes in, I don't think we even see any dive point shenanigans. And why that can be important is with DeMu's config, he could try to get a long wall up on that northern tree line, which would allow him to just kind of expand to the edge of the map without any harassment.
It looks like behind all of this, though, Zerton is also going for a second TC of his own. He's getting economy upgrades behind all of that as well. And look at that, he actually just got a villager kill there.
Okay, this is interesting, right? Because I mentioned the blacksmith idea, but he forgoes it entirely by doing this. But it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, if you want to get value out of the blacksmiths, you put yourself in the time and you have to go up to like 5-6 knights and go for the dive. And I say it all the time, if there's two civs that you hate diving, is the French, and this is essentially the French, it's the English and the Chinese.
Yeah, hand cannon placements or just that faster firing TC. It's always a very awkward position to dive from. Also, rams are going to be pretty annoying for the French to get because you need to make infantry for the rams, and then you're making archers. And ideally, if you make archers, you want to spend your wood on the archers, not on the rams. That's a little bit difficult to also maintain unit mass at the same time. And DeMu, he's just messing up a lot of longbowmen now behind all of that.
This is really strong, actually, if Zerton doesn't mirror with knight count, because the reality is actually that, you know what the biggest civ was that benefit from the TC nerfs? It was the English. Because the longbows now have the ability to just kind of move in, probe you, attack you, and never get hit, right? Like, remember when we used to have the campfire heal? And remember how annoying longbows were back then? Jesus, it's kind of as bad as that now, right? Because at least before this nerf to the secondary TCs came out, longbows had to get tickled back. Now they don't.
Yeah, secondary TCs now only having 6 tile of range compared to the 7 tiles of range that a longbowmen have. It can be very disgusting if you find yourself in a situation where your TC isn't in a position to block off the access point that the longbows have. They can just freely snipe the villagers around the TC.
Was it 6 tiles? Oh, it is 6 tiles. I always get them mixed up. Like, it's even worse, right? Because, like, I think at one stage it was discussed the idea of bringing it down to 7. And that, even then, that's the crazy part, right? That's the power of this longbow unit, why it's been a really big sticking point, especially in low-ranked games, and it's very dominant, is because even if it had been put down to 7 tiles, the reality is that actually those bows can still just snipe you for free. It's a powerful unit at this phase of the game.
Yeah, Chivalry now also coming in, so a couple of these knights from Zerton, they have been battered by those longbowmen. Are now going to be able to heal up. We also see the Consecration coming in on the School of Cavalry. So all the knights coming out there only going to cost 105 food instead of 140.
Interesting. Has he done Consecration on both the TCs? I imagine he has by now, right?
I think on the main TC. No,
Yeah.
Actually not on the main TC. There's no Consecration there. No Consecration at all yet. How many charges does he have left on John, I wonder?
Like 1, maybe 2?
He's got 1.
Okay, 1. So Yeah, this is usually the interesting part about this is Zerton took a break on knight production, right? The kind of approach from this is you want to get consecrate on the stables if you're spamming knights. Otherwise, TC is always more efficient. Sure, per production, you're going to save more in the stables, but if you aren't intending to pump them non-stop, it's an inefficient use of the consecration, which gives that 25% food discount. So this does suggest Zerton is looking to scale up into double digits and beyond with the knight count.
Something else that's interesting right now, it feels like both players are just slowly but surely microing or macroing up to the castle age here. Zerton gets 6 knights. That's a good number to do damage with and just harass every now and then. We do see that 2 villagers so far have been picked off. One earlier, and then one trying to build those walls at the north side of DeMu space.
This is quite interesting, actually. I think what Zerton's doing is he's going to try to wait for DeMu to make a tech happen and then just dive in on the age up. The problem with this idea from Zerton is if you look at the techs right now, we've got Steeled Arrow on the way from DeMu, but no range defenses. Zerton queues it up now, but that's going to be a window of opportunity where DeMu can exploit his base damage increase to start sniping out these knights.
Yeah, Longbowman. If you don't have that +1 Pierce Armor upgrade and they get a +1 damage upgrade, even the Knights, they can fall very, very quickly. 14 Longbowmen should be able to take a Knight down in like 2 or 3 volleys.
Yeah, it's so you have your base damage is 6, right? So you go up to 7. Meanwhile, the Knights are like 3 ranged armor right now. So it definitely has quite the sting to it. But looks like he actually backs away in time. Shows the respect. I imagine like talented player, he would have clicked on, seen that they've got the +1 and said, okay, reset, go again.
An issue here for DeMu, though, is he just clicked textiles and wheelbarrow, so he just set himself back 250 gold. Zerton is about to go up here very soon, and DeMu, he just lost a lot of his gold. Now, he has a lot of villagers on gold, so it's going to be the biggest issue here for him. But I feel like he could have probably already clicked up to the next age here. Probably just having too much respect right now for the knights from Zerton.
Yeah.
Doesn't know that he's going fast castle.
I think it's the positional aspect as well, right? Like we talked about him creating that funnel point. We know exactly where he wants to drop the white tower, but the reality is that white tower was still going to be in the front of his base. So that hesitation means instead he doubles down on spears here, but we see Zerton has no intent of playing longer in this age. Has got that wall on the north side, and considering that DeMu hasn't come out of his base, this could be a 50-50 roll when he tries to move out to mid-map to punish this.
And here we go. Now DeMu spots out that age up coming in. It's going to be the guild hall from Zerton. So long term in this game, he's going to have an additional source of stone. Very, very important for civilization like Jeanne d'Arc or the French. If it gets to the later stage of the game and you get to the Red Palace, the keep spam and the TC spam can be very hard to deal with if you're playing as the English. Now you still have options with the trebuchets, but no other siege unit really works against those kind of buildings then anymore, against the TCs or the keeps that are up on the map. Because Jeanne d'Arc emplacements, actually, I'm not sure if this has been fixed yet, but the Red Palace emplacements for Jeanne d'Arc, they still have the 10 tiles of range instead of the 9.5 tiles of range that the French have.
Yeah, I believe it's still that way for the time being. Hopefully that does get fixed soon. And also keep in mind that like she has an additional reason to want to be dropping those keeps anyway, right? Like someone I haven't seen played into heavily so far, but could be really cool in an English mosh pit, is the idea of spamming out Jean's champions, a unit that you can produce out of those castles.
True, yeah, you can make that unique unit. Now, the cost of them is quite high, I think. I think it's 160 food and 40 gold for every Jean champion. So they cost quite a bit more than your normal men-at-arms. But you can further boost that up. Yeah, you can further boost that up. Like, the more it costs, the more you save.
Exactly. And the cool thing is you want to do that because of the aura you get. It's a 10% damage buff, I believe it is, +1 range, +1 melee armor to any companions near Jean. So it's a pretty interesting kind of companion play later in the game. But we're probably going to be some way off that, right? If you want to do that, that's probably a transition that happens around the 25-minute mark because you need 2 or 3 keeps to start justifying it. The opening instead from Zerton, interesting. He did start queuing up the Arbalatrier, but instantly cancels it and goes into the archers.
Yeah, the Arbalatrier, they're just going to flat out die to the Longbowmen, so doesn't really want to pivot too hard into them. Now, one way you can make the Arbalatrier work is with the Pavisa ability, getting +5 ranged armor for an amount of time. And they're getting +1 range as well, but the Longbowmen are still going to be able to kite them out there with that +1 range.
It's also just so difficult to try and actually dive into these bases, right? Because like the other thing that the extra range lets you do is it kind of lets you manipulate your own buildings as a second wave of defense, where these archers would have to go around the sides, wasting more time running. You're still gunning. Well, we're now going to see Zerton trying to run those knights in. Realizes quite quickly that would mean death. Almost loses one of the Knights. And this has been a very passive game out of Jean. Compared to all the ones we've been seeing on the new patch, this is not typically how she's executed. Zerton, to his advantage here, does have a lot of map control, and he is now playing that standard edge you get from map control. He's looking to go into the relics and the trade.
Also trading, yeah. The trade behind that is a pretty good idea. He's already locked down a big portion of the map here with his walls, with his initial walls. So trade is very, very easily protected right now. It's a little bit unfortunate with the wood line, means that the trade is not going to be at peak efficiency, but overall you're still going to be getting a lot of value, especially with a civilization like the French. And with all of the discounts that you get with Jeanne d'Arc with the consecration, you're going to be in a really, really great position to just pump out knights non-stop, and we can see right now Zerton already up to 14 of them.
Oh, yes. I mean, that's the power of the Consecrate, right? It allows for this, and we said he needs to be pumping out of those buildings for it to have been an optimal play, because he still hasn't put them on the TCs whatsoever. Now, I believe because he didn't go for the Royal Institute and he doesn't have a keep, he won't be able to get the additional discount from the Consecrate, right? Because I think it requires one of those two things.
I believe you don't actually, as Jeanne d'Arc, you don't make that out of the keep. Instead, you get it out of the blacksmith. And there we go. We actually see it coming in right now.
There you go. Smart cookie. That's why I got Crackedy on. So yes, this is if you hover over it, it's a super advantageous tech. There you go. 25% savings on wood and gold. Something that's interesting to think about here, by the way. If he wants to pump trade, once that comes in, he could consecrate the marketplaces and get a big discount there as well.
You get a big discount on those markets, or rather on the single market right there. It's going to save himself a pretty penny there over time.
Yeah.
And knights now on both sides of the map here.
Hi, honey. Little free raid in here, but textiles will protect. Sacred sites, however, have now been captured, so Zerton's now trying to force DeMu out of the base. Makes a lot of sense here because this white tower is not breachable anytime soon. And Jean, right now you're looking at, wait, how is Jean level 3? This makes no sense. They barely fought Crackedy. How is this possible? She does get passive XP.
Yeah, it's going to be 0.5 experience per second passively as long as she's alive. And knights.
Ooh, big losses.
Fell asleep at the keyboard there for a little bit. Loses 4, yeah.
Now, the other thing that's interesting is even passive XP, that kind of seems like a crazy timing, but the reason why those sacred sites got caught up so quickly is because Zerton reached age 3 and he captured those sacred sites with Jean. So that's another way that he's able to inject XP. So I like that because I think one issue is, the reality is if you aren't able to kind of keep pace with your XP because your opponent's too turtly, the reality of this game is that you are essentially playing a worse French because Jean won't be ready. But against this comp, having that 50% ranged reduction is going to be massive in these fights.
Yeah, it's very important. Now, Candle Saddle's also coming in for Zerton, making sure his knights are going to be as strong as possible. Zerton, he actually went for the cavalry Jean's champion, so he's going to get some horsemen, which do bonus damage against the crossbowmen. That's probably not the best idea, considering that DeMu also has 36 spearmen out right now.
Yes, but the other edge you get is the extra ranged armor, right? I think they start at like 5 base armor, which is crazy. 2 better than what you typically get at horseman at the stage. So it does have some merit to it. But yeah, agreed. Typically you do this, like for example, if you were up against French or another Jean, that's when it could be a super sick play because they rely on the crossbows.
Now some mangonels also coming out for Zerton. So going into the siege play, I like the idea because DeMu's army right now, it's consisting solely off of infantry units. And looks like right now, certainly DeMu, he hasn't started yet decapping any of the sacred sites. He does have an outpost in the middle of the map and some map control. I think he can just rally one of his units over there right now to start decapping that one. You want to get that stopped sooner rather than later. And there we go. Single unit gets split off. And with that, decap is pretty much guaranteed now.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily the pressure of the win condition, it's actually just the fact you're giving extra gold over to a Civ that typically one of their biggest weaknesses, as is with standard French, is when you get to that late game, you run out of gold, you almost feel like your Civ just doesn't exist anymore, right? Like, I've seen plenty of players feel that if you get to that stage of the game, you might as well have picked Ruse considering that their horsemen are more tanky.
Now look at this. DeMu, for some reason, he's 12 villagers behind right now. Both of the players are on... Oh, never mind, that's the traders. I forgot the traders.
Okay, yeah. I was about to say, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, wait, this isn't the normal French, that's Jeanne d'Arc. Yeah, and there we go. Now it adds up. It's all coming together. I wasn't sure just how many traders were out there, but yeah, it's already 10 traders. That's a whole bunch, and a very large cavalry army here right now for Zerton. And the mangonel means that DeMu, he's going to be forced back, and this is probably the first time that DeMu noticed, oh wait, my opponent's Jean, she's level 3.
And that's where things can get pretty bloody scary. You get those tanky front liners, not to mention the fact also that when you get this deep into the game and you see that Jean is scaling this many knights, they get more bang for buck out of the Divine Restoration. That can be really dicey. Sure, he's got a lot of spears, but always feels like when you're against Jean, you need 10 or 12 more because of that huge juice up of health.
Exactly. Now DeMu, he's also going into some Springles. Does have that white tower, being able to pump them out very, very quickly. Double Springles going to mean that those Demus and these Mangonels are not going to be able to do a whole lot out there on the front side. Question's going to be, though, Zerton needs to make something happen here soon. He still has the higher army value. The issue is that Demu's army just flat out counters most of the things that he has.
Yeah, the interesting thing actually, like back to that Spring point, this is why I really love White Tower builds, is like English typically is historically one of the hardest civs to transition to siege with, because you don't have any stabilizers, right? You don't have any assistance wheels to get into it, right? Usually you've used more wood into your production because you're building spears and longbows so often, so that's less for siege workshops. And you're not rushing keeps anymore because of the higher price and the way that English plays. So White Tower just gives you that nice va-va-boom to just switcheroo on the fly, seeing as it is a double production of every single type.
Demu's now making a very, very long line formation there with his units, trying to attack from a very, very large angle.
The problem with this right now is like he has some vision, but the way it kind of keeps fragmenting off, you never really know where these mangos are. And you're going to see a little skirmish on the south side. Zerton tries to pick off the small groups of troops for good reason right now. DeMu does have a notable military lead, so Zerton not willing to commit full head into it. However, if the Mangos get some freebies, they'll definitely say yes.
Pringle's teetering off as well. A couple of knights out there to try and snipe some of the reinforcements, but there are not going to be any reinforcements anytime soon, as both players right now are 200 out of 200, and looks like both of them are trying to go up to the Imperial age here very soon. DeMu lacking gold, Zerton lacking food, and now with that, both of them have the resource to go for it now.
Okay, where's this red pass though? Because it's crucial he doesn't put this on the front side. This is one of those games where you think sticking a red pass at the front of your base is thumbs up. It actually just encourages DeMu to kill you. Instead, he's very composed about this. Sticks to the backside to protect the trade, and this means that DeMu will not be able to scout it. He does get his own Fort Berkshire, but there's no denying that when you think about a global presence in terms of these two landmarks, the red pass has more due to the fact that it's buffing up all the town centers and keeps as well.
Exactly. What this does though right now, I mean, the Berkshire is in a very offensive position, and with all of its bonus range, it's going to be tough for Zerton to really push through that, but he doesn't need to. He's got all of the top half of the map, and he's got the mobility with his units to just run past it and run straight into the base of DeMu here.
Speaking of which,
and with the emplacements, yeah, and with the emplacements, he doesn't need to really defend his base.
No, and now I'm watching for those knights in the back of DeMu's base, because the issue he's about to have, that chop through might lead to a massacre. Sure, you are talking about textile villages, but Zerton is going to be getting ready to upgrade to elite knights soon, in which case they can absolutely annihilate those eco lines.
Spearmen are getting two-shot by that TC, even without any units inside. Looks like Zerton does want to defend it. School of Cavalry is going to go down very quickly here. Tons of units out there hitting on that.
Worth it though, right? Like, you know you're not going to landmark snipe him down. It's kind of annoying to lose to the School of Cavalry, but like realistically, if you think about the resource exchange, I'd still feel good about this if I was Zerton.
Yeah, and especially since I believe that even if you take the School of Cavalry down, your cavalry still produces 20% faster.
Yes, yeah, we can double check, but I'm pretty sure they never changed that. There's some things where that does interact. For example, like if the HRE lose the Regnates, they don't get the double gold anymore. But I believe if we were to click on a School of Cavalry right now, you'll see it takes like 28 seconds, or 27 rather, for the Knights. No, not the School of Cavalry. Go on a normal stable. So usually it would be 29. Remains 29.
Yeah, it's still 29. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
which is always, by the way,
bloodlines coming in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say quickly, that's always been the issue in my eyes on why you can never do Chamber of Commerce. Is like, if that School of Cavalry was the increased production rate was a tech you unlocked in Imperial Age, I feel like we'd see a lot more Chamber of Commerce than we do right now.
Yeah, for sure. Just the School of Cavalry at the moment provides so much value and so much tempo. And okay,
how long has this been going on?
Probably not too long. I only see a couple of dead bodies around there.
So it could be much worse there, but kind of frustrating it took that long to notice. And it shows you how kind of like spread DeMu's eco is now getting as he comes out of his safe pockets. And Well, these Knights are always just sneaking in on that gold. We know at this stage of the game, DeMu's looking towards a lot of Imperial Age upgrades, which means he needs access to fat stacks of cash.
Exactly. Zerton behind all of that, also getting some Sprinkles out. Both players are going to be on Sprinkles. The question's going to be, is Zerton going to be able to take down the Sprinkles from DeMu and get some good mangonel shots here on that large infantry mass? Knight once again, just hanging out.
Hi, don't mind me, I just came to... Oh wait, they noticed. Oh, this is actually so annoying. You've seen the health bars are getting low on a lot of those villages. It's really cost efficient for Zerton, actually. Like, sure, he's not getting that many kills, but the idle time is definitely adding up. And that does slow down his escalation into any sort of new unit comp or upgrades on the way.
And behind all of that, I mean, both players right now, they've got a really, really big eco bank. Thing is, though, Zerton, with the consecration, he's always going to be able to just mass his units up for cheaper.
This is dangerous, actually. This many knights going in.
Pushing in.
Yeah, exactly. That's my worry. As soon as you see that many knights there, that's divide. Let's go. Instantly dives into the base of the forces to burn down the School of Cavalry. Keep being built up in the forefront. We are going to see this dive coming in, but against Primary TC and White Tower, even with Royal Knights, it does add up.
And our Knights getting a lot of value here in the base of Zerton. Even these Spearmen, they're not going to be able to hold this. All of the Knights now, with the maximum amount of upgrades that they can have. 20 Knights, I mean, you need like at least 40 Spearmen over here to be able to really defend this. And I don't see 40 Spearmen.
I see bigger issues as well. Look at his wood income and look at what he's building. He's trying to get bombards to make this a good base trade, but I don't think it's going to work that way. When you're kind of flatlining on the wood line, as you're going to see Zerton move down there, that's going to lead to bigger issues on the front side. DeMu realized, okay, with the red pass and the TC there, I can't just dive and burn this crap down. So now he has this hard stuck issue of 1 bombard's on the way, but you realistically need 2 or 3 here with the Sprinkles already in play.
Oh, and only now Elite Spearman is coming in, and those Knights, they took a great trade even against the Spearmen there. DeMu right now sitting on 76 villagers.
Again, dicey. Big lead now for Zerton. You have to remember also the gold's going to become a limiting factor. Yes, of course, DeMu can get access to the enclosures, but that's only going to go so far when you need to keep adding in siege. School of Cavalry does hit the deck. He's going to need to do a lot more damage here. Well, Springle
Fight about to start happening here. There we
Zerton.
go, Springle shots.
One more, and he gets it. It's gone. And there's the rejuvenation coming in. Divine Restoration on the front line, just so they're able to hold. Lombos are getting good exchanges, but the reality of this fight right here is without a bombard, there's no easy way to break into the French base.
Yeah, and behind all of that, a lot of the units there were trying to focus down Jeanne d'Arc. So many volleys went into her, but she's still at half health.
She's like, is that all? It's a mere flesh wound. Okay, that's more than a flesh wound. Jean goes down. Zerton does have what he needs to insta-buy back with a 500, and he's going to spend it. Needs her, because right now she's farming up a storm. All this XP just being gathered by the dive, and that was my worry right there, Crackedy. Like, sure, you looked at the military pop, you're like, this is a good fight for DeMu. Then you realize that all of it is ranged. There's nothing that's going to kind of end the game for him with that dive.
Podcast pointing out, though, DeMu at raid has severely crippled his economy. Only 900 food per minute right now. As the English in Imperial Age. Meanwhile, certainly he's got a 13,000 food bank behind all of that.
Is this the... Wait.
Oh.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. You know, you know what that is? That's like cheating on a Fitbit. You know, to make it look like you're running. Oh.
That's a Jeanne d'Arc speedrun right there.
But she got the cleave.
Did she? It was very quick. Very quickly over there.
Zerton was like, I wonder if this is good enough. Let's check the damage. Instantly regrets it. That's one of the tricky bits with Jean in Age 3 and 4 is you always end up on horseback, right? So the spearmen always end up being a solution to stop those dives. But reality of what just happened there, yes, Zerton did just feed worse than a Dota player with his hero. But on the flip side, DeMu's army isn't actually big enough to break anything now.
Yeah, now we see some Mangonels coming, some Trebuchets coming out as well, followed by more Mangonels. The Siege army right now looking very, very solid for Zerton. And overall, we look at the resource count. He's getting roughly 5,000 resource per minute at the moment. Meanwhile, DeMu, he's getting half of that.
Something, English late game economy broken. No. In fairness, there is a very big eco lead. In fairness, there is a 4th relic also on the way back to Zerton's base, so many reasons for him to be cozy. And that's worrisome, right? So far he's been going into Trebs. He hasn't actually gone full spendy spend, but that's because he's up against the Berkshire. And the reason that's important that he goes Trebs instead is this is the unit that can siege down that landmark, that critical landmark, without taking damage in return. If that happens at any stage in this game, the floodgates open, and that's where we're looking probably into GG territory in favor of Zerton.
I feel like at this point in time, like with the economy that Zerton has, if he just consecrates the stables, he could just go into a knight-only composition, and if he gets to like 70 knights, those can... It's not as strong as Imperial Guards, but they can still do a ton of damage.
I mean, I feel like these are the true Darksiders, though. That's such a strong force in the late game, especially if we get that level 4 Jean. Something interesting here is actually the fact that he's prioritizing into stirrups, which suggests we're getting prolonged play into Arbor Trie. Curious choice considering that so far these fights haven't really looked that sexy for him because of the crossbows.
Crossbow mass is messing up. I mean, if anybody's able to hold that, it's gonna have to be the English because of that attack speed aura. With the attack speed aura being able to just attack so quickly, no other civilization is gonna be able to pull it off quite like them. And military mass right now is still looking fairly solid here for DeMu. He's starting to recover with his economy. Food now looking better than what Jeanne d'Arc is getting per minute. Not that Jeanne d'Arc needs a lot of food right now. She's sitting pretty on a very big food bank. Definitely going to be able to hold out during the winter.
Yeah, right now Zerton's like, can I maybe throw away like 60 knights to just fix my economy? It kind of feels a little bit bonkers here right now. 20 knights to scale and we'll look for the breach through back into the base of DeMu. The best part is he's just sitting here, almost like it's honorary to wait for the enemy to turn up for the fight. They will do that, but that means continued pressure on the front side, right? Treb's just trying to take out that Berkshire. It looks like there was a good trade. Nice move there by DeMu. Snipes out the trebuchets. The Berkshire is still down to half HP. Oh, this
now we see some cannons coming as well. Fall back to the keep. The keep has that red palace in placement, so it's going to be still very tough for DeMu to push further into that.
This is
Units going down quickly.
It's so tilting once you reach that keep range. You're like, okay, I know I can't chase this anymore. Zerton has done this to so many players, by the way, even before the expansion. This is the way he loves to play French. Get that late game, get the red palace, and then just spam knights, because they can never really fight you. And, well, if they try to dive you with spears, usually they die too quick to clear up the keep. But they won't die quick enough before they've cleared up some villages. They need to try and prevent the gathering of gold here from Zerton, because realistically, DeMu needs this as the game goes on.
Yeah, the keep is staying alive for now. There's no boiling oil at the moment, so not even some AoE damage on those units.
Do you mean lukewarm oil?
It's been buffed recently with the range. I think we can call it medium-high temperature oil now.
Okay, yeah, because I was saying, when you say buff, that's like me saying I'm buff because I lifted like a dumbbell 5 times, and if you look really closely and magnify, you can see a little bump now. It's not as impressive as we'd like still, but yes, the range was at least a nice little compliment to it. I think actually this is one of the civs that would benefit from it, considering how many keeps they tend to spam. But right now, all Zerton wants to do is spam knights once again in the farmlands. Such an annoyance here for DeMu, because once again he was posturing to go on the offensive.
And all of that, we also see a couple of Jean's champions being in queue on a couple of these keeps. Another keep has just gone up. With that trade, should be able to hold right now. It is so difficult. If you're playing as a civilization against the French in the late game, you always want to, like, if you win a fight, you want to push into your opponent. But then you notice, oh no, I can't push if I don't have a ton of siege, and Rams don't count as siege in this situation against the Red Palace emplacement.
No, they really don't. They're not actually doing the damage that needs to be done. And now, the reality is, if you're not able to breach for this keep in the next 2 or 3 minutes, I think you're going to go gold dry compared to your opponent. Zerton, who right now is going to make sure the English are dry of blood from their veins. DeMu raided on the woodline in a situation where he's struggling to find additionals. And it feels like, realistically, what he needed was maybe some stone walls on the long flanks, because he has no way of keeping up with these knights. And now, no Berkshire to defend the center of the map.
Berkshire is gone, and certainly he has the siege to be able to push this in all the way into DeMu space. We see 4 cannons out right now, and these aren't your average cannons. These are the French cannons. They have no time at all when it comes to packing or unpacking. They're very quick on their feet, or their wheels.
If you click on them, you can show the stats on these beasts. Yeah, good luck killing them, buddy. That's just going to be sacrificed villages. They are bulky boys. Has, of course, got the siege works as well. And that's extra XP into the pocket, as if Zerton really needs it at this type of juncture in the game. Heavily ahead on economy. Military looks like it's actually going to favor DeMu, but remember, a lot of it is into siege for Zerton, and also a lot of his units are premium compared to the crap that DeMu's pushing out.
Exactly. Now we see a big load of that crap, a big army of that infantry mass coming out from DeMu.
The goal here is to funnel all that crap down Jean's throat. The issue, however, is she just walks away.
I mean, he has a nice position here. He managed to get up the outpost there in time. Does have the aura there, and there's only a couple villagers building that TC there for certain. DeMu is going to find a very nice timing here to be able to get that keep up and secure the gold. And as he said, he really needs that gold at the moment in order to get some more premium units out.
I feel more threatened by the town center right now, so I'm glad that DeMu's reacting to this. It's one of those situations like, oh, why would you build a TC here? No, guys, those arbitrary emplacements are no joke, so we'll deny this. Zerton won't be able to get this one up on the stone outcropping. That's a significant resource that both players desperately need right now.
Very large siege army here. It's so difficult right now as DeMu to push into this. Force Pringles as well means that you need a significant investment into anti-siege in order to compete with that. And gold is the issue.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at the Springwell shots into Jean out of all the things that could be targeted here.
Not yet, not yet. She needs level 4. She needs level 4 in order to take bonus siege damage.
That's true. We need to see her take 1 damage from a Springwell. Oh, rough one though, as he tries to flank around the sides and reach that siege. Just a few cavalry units and arbitrary here to hold. Mango should be exposed, but Jean, she's going to try to hold the line. Little swipe comes out, has to move away from those spears, otherwise she'll just instantly disappear. Mangoes are now being cleared up. So Zerton throwing away a hell of a lot of siege. But hear me out. Look at his economy. Now shrug.
Yeah, I guess that's a very good response now. He's lost his military, he's lost his siege. Now he can replace them all at once with a ton of high movement speed units to try and raid.
So you just say thank you to DeMu and then kill him. Yeah, that honestly, you know what this is? So we use the crap analogy. This is discovering that your toilet has flooded and then realizing you have more than enough money to pay a plumber to come fix it. Zerton definitely has the inheritance to do so, sitting over 20,000 surplus resources. Not looking like it's going to slow down anytime soon. So DeMu, while he has an opportunity, while he has a little bit of wiggle room, is going to try to start diving here, but with limited rams, this is going to be difficult.
And all the economy from Zerton is very, very far in the back, so DeMu has to dive deep, and Jean d'Arc gets focused out, does not die, and that was a lot of volleys going out on there. And these volleys didn't go onto the military there from Zerton.
Uh-oh, it happened.
Level 4.
Happened, Crackedy, run!
Oh, this is gonna be very rough now.
This is not Jean d'Arc anymore. This is Jean Bravo 6 going dark. It's time to start doing some assassinating. DeMu, his lifeline in this game might be coming to an end because this is where we're going to start seeing things like cannons being spawned for free. This is where we're going to really start seeing him kicking the teeth. In fact, you want to know what a real kick to the teeth would be? Zerton is right now producing a carrack. Can we look at the lake?
Oh my god. It costs so much population space as well. It's gonna be a while until he's able to get that out. Looking at his queue right now.
Oh my god. It's actually so frustrating on a map like this because DeMu's only way of contesting this was the short route. So just a carrack, even if it doesn't kill anything, it's the threat because nothing's going to outrange it here. He's struggling to ever get the anti-siege together to deal with these problems, and that's going to be a bigger issue in the next minute considering Zerton just queued up another 4 mangoes.
It's got 40 horsemen in the queue behind all of that as well.
Do you think that's enough? Well, I mean...
I'll make him a couple more.
Why
Why stop there?
Yeah, like, Zerton's a very big My Little Pony fan. You know, show it.
Could you imagine if he just sends Jean d'Arc solo out into the backline of DeMu's base? Like, it would take so much in order to really get her down at this point in time. She has so much health.
And she's ready to give a little pew-pew out here. I mean, that cleave he's trying to use there, it has got escalated damage. Divine Restoration is going to come out, so Arbitrator can last a little bit longer. Now, interesting enough, Zerton is not a big fan of using the shields, the Pavis, because, well, that's a pussy move. Who wants to hide? Just keep fighting. Doesn't matter, because after all, if they die quicker, that means more horsemen are on the way. Yeah,
and even if all of these arbitrary go down, he already has 15 more in his base, just ready to join the battlefield. He has the economy to do this like 5 times over. DeMu does not.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is just turned into an attritional game. Slow and steady, doesn't need to be a rush, and hello! That's... This is like building a yacht on your little local lake, right? That's when you know someone has too much money.
Can we take a look at how many resources Zerton has in his guild hall right now?
I'd rather not.
Oh,
Jesus.
that could be a couple of keeps.
Oh,
One
yeah.
keep, two keep.
How about a companion spam?
Yeah, why don't we play Age of Empires 2 here in the end and get some of these unique units out of the keeps then?
I mean, all I'm thinking is he wants horsemen. Why not just get better horsemen?
Yeah, I mean, he could also just go for Wonder with those resources, looking at his bank right now. It's just a stone that he's missing, and he's got that in the guild hall.
No way. Come on. That would be the most demoralizing... Actually, do it. Legit, that would be the most demoralizing thing to do to Ben in this game right now. Just like, I'm just going to build a Wonder, and I'll still have a bigger army.
You just put it behind the Red Palace as well, and then your opponent has to push through the Red Palace. It's so difficult. So difficult.
Alright, well, DeMu seems to believe there's still a way. Personally, I'm of the feeling the way is probably in game number 2, but we have to remember, guys, we have God Vision. DeMu might know there's a lot of money in the bank for Zerton. He might not realize it's this high. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, to this point in the game, he still has not scouted the trade. He got close near the Sacred Site, but I don't think he actually had the vision to reveal it.
41 traders, and behind all of that, these traders, they also got the unique French upgrade where they're generating gold every couple of seconds, as long as they're around. So that's like an additional 500, 600 gold per minute that you're getting there.
I mean, the thing as well is, like, DeMu, like I was mentioning, he hasn't seen the trade, but he has to be feeling it right now, right? Like, it's kind of deceptive because Zerton stopped pushing knights. If he just spammed knights perma, you just probably call GG because you know it's trade. But because
TC just
Zerton
killed 20 men-at-arms.
Say again?
Did that TC just kill 20 men-at-arms?
That's just parlez-vous death. Parlez-vous death. You know?
Oh, Red Palace never change.
No, do change. Change for the worse, please, for the love of God. And good God, the mango shot's coming in here. I mean, yep, there's the button. Divine Restoration, because when you aren't tanky enough with Raw Bloodlines, here's a button.
Oh, also buffing the nearby units now?
And now you've got a small group of melee to deal with 4 mangoes. Oh, sorry, 3. So we'll back away. We'll give you that false sense of winning and security. And then we'll Hail Mary you with a second siege line.
There we go.
This is pain.
And this time the Pavis is coming in as well.
Oh no, the mango shot scaring away. Spirals are going to start sniping out, so mango should be brought down. But in the meantime, the Spirals belong to Zerton, as well as the cannons have been killing the front line. I'm really struggling to see what the end game plan is here for DeMu.
Oh, John taking some damage, falling back for now.
It's a flesh wound. I like how he's
now
just like
Stalwart's coming out as well.
I love the way he's keeping Sean at XP range. It's like there's nothing left to get Zerton. He's like, is there a secret level 5? I think we're going to be here for a while, guys.
Yeah, maybe. Can we take a look at the base from Zerton, just see how many buildings he's consecrated behind all of this? We can see the consecration there on so many of these stables, and actually select a stable. Let's check just how low the cost is of one of these knights. Like 105 food and 75 gold.
Okay, hear me out.
That's sofa cost.
Hear me out. Have a look at the keeps, because I really, he's doing
oh, there it is.
It. It's the Notre Dame. Well, if there's ever been a way of saying, get the fudge out of my game, it's this right here. Not only that, look at the queue up of cannon emplacements. Oh my God.
A mere 7,000 stone has just been withdrawn from that guild hall. Yeah.
Could you imagine that as a bank logic there? Like, oh yeah, my great-great-great-great-grandfather put a stone in the local bank. I'm here to withdraw his payment. What was the inflation? Yeah, 6,000 pebbles here for you, sir. Oh, I'll build a nice big cathedral to celebrate this. What? Okay, we've got to ask the question. What is DeMu thinking right now? Like, how is his brain processing this? Like, what is the go plan? I guess you're in for a penny, in for a pound, right? Like, you have to look at the positives here, and that's your opponent did just spend a lot of resources on a building for you to shoot.
I like to believe that at this point in time, the main thought is probably going to be, guess I'm dead. And it certainly feels like it. Not sure I'm now almost going to be completed. Now, DeMu, he does have a couple of units trying to raid, and he is going to finally find the trade line from Zerton, and Zerton's going to have to react to that at some point in time. Wonder victory approaching now.
He doesn't need to react to it. He just needs to wait 15 minutes. It's fine. Why is this game taking an hour, Crackedy?
Oh, Sean going down.
Who
And
cares?
she's up again.
He's got 10k gold.
Welcome back, Joan.
He can pay death to just keep bringing her back at this stage. It's pretty irrelevant for him. DeMu, he is going to find that trade. It's not going to die fast. In fact, those men-at-arms are going to die to there was a keep there, right? So good luck with that. And despite the fact he just built a Wonder, Zerton is now the one moving out on the offensive.
Some of the royal cannons here, around normal bombard cannons. Has to be careful against all of these Springles. Couple of mangonels as well. Getting some good shots on the Arbaletria here.
Oh, those sieges for free though, right there. Tries to go for a little bit of a trade. The cleave coming through from Jean. For once, she doesn't insta gets target down and instantly makes DeMu regret it. Just not enough troops left. I feel like we are at the point where DeMu has to admit it's done, right? Like, the steak is cooked. You've got no standing army. Your opponent literally just built a Wonder, and yet he's now approaching your base.
Yeah, it must be at this point in time. Like, you just gotta realize that you're probably not gonna be able to come back here from this position. Can we take a look at John and see just how much HP she has, what her stats are right now? 810 health. 9
That's
armor.
what we call a Jean dunk, alright? Because it's small, a small little dip in the pool to take her down. She does fall, but who cares? There is still an entire army here.
Yeah, she can just get revived at some point in time here. Definitely has the resource for it. Little Raid has been cleaned up. Zerton still has an insane economy bank behind all of this.
Mm-hmm. Now, can we check the guild hall? Because I'm wondering how much stone we have again. Already up to 740. Who wants another keep? You know what I'd like to see? What he's finally doing. He's actually now building the companions. So we are going to get the beefier version of the horseman coming out in the future.
Those companions can be quite strong, but there aren't too many more crossbows remaining here from DeMu, so the bonus damage isn't really going to come into play here. It's a very interesting thing to be... Yeah, it's still very interesting, though, that they made a unit that has a bonus against one unit in particular. Pavisa coming in. Oh, splitting up again.
The fact that he focus fired the villagers may have kind of worked against him here, because now, like, you've just given Zerton more space for military units, and that's going to be GG. Ben says, no way am I waiting to be tapped out by the Wonder. He waves the white flag. Yes, folks, this was just game one. We potentially still got 6 more of this.
Exactly. And this was a really, really strong opener here for Zerton against the English here with Jeanne d'Arc. I mean, we've seen the previous way this matchup worked out, where the English, if they're just able to hold, they're able to get into a significantly better position at the eco. Zerton, though, immediately going for that second TC means that is not going to be the way the game plays out, and actually just able to have the superior economy here. That one big raid with the Knights just killed so many villagers there for DeMu, and with that, Zerton's going to take the game number 1 here.
Still plenty more to come. We have 2 series today, folks, and you know, I'm hoping we're not going to get the hour-long slogs. They can be interesting, but the kind of weird part is that this almost felt like more of a stress test, right? We have to remember that the expansion only just came out. There's a lot of things to practice, a lot of permutations to learn. I think DeMu was kind of like trying to kind of skirt the line, see what maybe he can get away with, you know, that kind of like curious DD with the red button moment from Dexter's laboratory. Obviously, didn't know about the trade as well until later on. That was kind of a kick in the nuts. But the reality is this is still a civ that is being heavily explored. People are trying to look for the weaknesses. There was a lot of theory crafting, I think, originally that her late game would look weaker than the French. But as we're seeing, with those auras, with those abilities, she can actually turn the tides of battle.
Indeed. Now, taking a look at our next map in the pool, it's going to be Thicket, and we're going to be seeing Japanese coming out from DeMu against Roost from Zerton. Now, we've seen a similar matchup a couple of times today as well. Japanese versus Roost. So, Roost, they used to be hailed as like the #1 civilization when it comes to these big water type of maps. Japanese, though, they're the new kid on the block, and they're bringing a lot to the table. So they get a very, very nice bonus early on, where their fishing ships only cost 45 wood.
Yeah.
What that means is you only need 5 to 6 villagers on wood to be able to sustain production there, meaning that you can use all the other villagers on food and gold to rush up a very, very fast feudal age. And that was like one of the main strengths from the Ruse, being able to rush up a feudal age with the passive bounty income that they get with their scouts, and then suddenly they have archerships like 4 minutes in your base. But the Japanese, they will be able to deal with that.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that you highlighted that because that's something I took note of very early on. Because I mean, honestly, Crackedy, if there's one civ that I spammed the crap out of in the testing phases, it's Japanese. I've already said it before. I was going to go full weeb. Done that in many different ways. For anyone who's been watching all the broadcasts I've been on recently, but like the way that I focused on here was I noticed on the water maps, even when I was just being suboptimal, I was like, huh. I've just arrived in feudal age ahead of you. And the reason that's critical is that first archer ship can dictate a lot of the flow, right? And the crazy thing about the increased speed at which you reach into feudal age on a water hybrid map, it means that not only can you have an archer ship out ahead of your opponent often, you can already have the springald ship coming out and on the way before your opponent realistically has his own. So really scary timing. If there's any civ that can potentially break it, I'd expect it to be the Ruse. But if you get caught in transition when you're converting those lodges, it could instantly just all be over.
Indeed, indeed. Now, BMF Twitch coming in with the 14 gifted subs. Very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Fellas, on the bottom right-hand side, you can see our EGC TV community support goal. You can help us fill that up if you're gifting subs, if you're subbing yourself, if you're cheering in the chat, or just by watching here. It is all very much appreciated. You help not just us, but you help EGC TV, bringing you guys all of these amazing, amazing tournaments and all of these great high-level games. So with that, if you want to support, then definitely here on Twitch is one way to do that. On that, we also have a Patreon, EGC TV Patreon, where you're able to directly support them.
Yes, guys. Remember, like, as it stands right now, there's nothing sponsoring these events. EGC reach into their own pocket to make it happen. If you guys are feeling like you're getting enough entertainment, maybe just drop a little summon. I mean, honestly, a sub is $5. Get 5 hours entertainment, boom. You're probably going to get 5 hours entertainment out of this one series, judging by game one, because it's time for game number 2. Let's see if it's going to go to the distance, or if we're going to be moving a bit faster as we go deeper into this series. We're going to be heading into Thicket.
Exactly. Game number 2. In the color blue, playing as the Ruse, we got Zerton. On the other side, playing as the Japanese, one of the newer civilizations, we got DeMu.
Exciting map. One of the best civs, if not the best civ for water hybrid maps versus what could be the new kid on the block looking to give you a kick in the nuts. And the crazy thing, really, we've been discussing in the pregame is it's not much that the Japanese get out of this, right? It's literally just cheaper fishing boats. But the ramifications that has in your escalation towards feudal can not only be seen on the water, it can be seen on the land as well. I wouldn't be surprised, especially with the way that Thicket spawns, if we see DeMu do something cheeky like either a Shinobi opening or even going into a Rax plus Onobugishis.
True, that is an option, but it's a little bit of an interesting matchup, isn't it? Because the Japanese, when they go for those Shinobis, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be sabotaging the docks, meaning that there won't be any units coming out of them. But the Ruse, they can just transform their ships, and with that, they don't need to use their docks for it. And as long as you got like one arch ship on your dock, it's going to be very tough for the Shinobis to sabotage that.
Yeah, I think the play on this type of map is that you open archer ship as the Japanese, you still build the Shinobi, you move across, right? You force the reaction, and then you play that dance while also burning. Because even if they transition, the whole logic is that the archer ship gets in there, it's already doing damage to the fishing boat before it converts, and that'll be the difference maker to kind of win a fight, right? Like, you could argue going spring was a bit better because then your opponent kind of doesn't have a great reaction, but I think that the ability to just harass extra eco if they're stacked kind of outweighs that, right? Like, especially considering you know you're going to typically have enough of an advantage with that extra savings on the fishing boat costs to get a second ship out in time with your opponent. So, also, just thinking actually, you probably played more Thicket than me. How many wolves does this map have? Is it quite high on the wolf count or quite low?
There are a couple of wolves, if I remember correctly. Actually, funnily enough, I think everybody right now has vetoed Thicket. Up until earlier today, I didn't have a single map vetoed. And I've never played Thicket in ranked. I'm not even sure if it's in the ranked queue right now at the moment, in the ranked map pool.
Yeah. I think it might be quick match. I'm not sure if it's in ranked though. It's an interesting map nonetheless, right? It essentially plays like Baltic, but the whole idea is that like the sacred site is plopped in the center, the board's plopped in the center. But something that's quite interesting compared to to Baltic that they tried to do with this map is they wanted to create this environment where it isn't just spam a million fishing boats and win, right? There is deep water fish, but you can see on the map, there's nowhere near as many as we've seen on maps with similar designs.
Yeah, indeed, and all the deep water fish, it's all strewn out about around this like little circle that we have of the water. So if you really want to get a lot out of water here, you're going to want to take the entirety, like you want to make docks on all different sides here of water. So map control is going to be definitely very important, but it also means that if a player takes water, the game isn't going to be immediately over, just because in order to make full use of these deep sea fish, you have to take the map control around the land as well.
Yes. I quite like the design of this map, actually. Like, compared to Baltic, I'm a bigger fan of it just because the water isn't the be-all end-all, that you still have the trade posts. I also find that the wood spawns compared to Baltic are a lot more intriguing and that you become exposed really fast, which once again kind of stops that prolonged reliance on fishing to make or break the game, right? So definitely an interesting map. Fingers crossed we get to see more of it. But I'm curious to see how this Coca Township play is going to work out. DeMu, notably later here, Zerton instead is going to be jumping first with his fishing boat, and that's going to block out the gathering, temporarily at least for DeMu.
That was some quite insane timing, considering that Zerton got up to the next stage before 4 minutes with the water opening. So some insane rushing there to the feudal age. Now DeMu,
right? Like,
it is
put it into a
100%
number,
wild.
right? Because the fishing boats cost is 150 wood, right? And he built 2 of them. Meanwhile, DeMu built 3 fishing boats that cost 45 wood each. How much bounty did he get? I mean, he must have, like, it doesn't look that high, right? 'Cause he's got 20 remaining.
Yeah, it must be 120, right? Yeah, 120 bounty. So not a lot, but it was enough here.
Okay, that's still kind of crazy to me. I mean, we know the Roost opening is strong, but this just felt like on another level. Well played by Zerton there. Gets a big edge, but needed that edge considering the Shinobi is already on the way.
Yeah, behind that, though, there's not going to be a ton of ships coming out right now from DeMu. And I think that was because at the time the DeMu aged up, he still only had like 5 villagers on wood, because he was just macroing from the back of not needing a lot of wood for these fishing ships. So the follow-up with that Shinobi, it's not going to be the fastest. And actually some walls now coming up here by Zerton. I like the play, but in theory, but the thing is that Shinobis can teleport.
Yes.
But the good thing is that if they teleport in, they can't immediately teleport out.
You'd have to micro pretty sick, right? Because like the reality is, there's a world in which you dodge death constantly long enough for Shinshin to come off cooldown because archer ships aren't the best at hitting their targets. But it is going to be incredibly difficult and a big waste of your early APM. So we are going to see him try to move in, though. Looks like he will be able to find his way in for the torch because he catches Zerton not looking as he skirted outwards. And that's going to disable the production. Now, this is critical. DeMu did go for a double dot play. That's now going to force the mirrored reaction out of Zerton on a delay. So we might actually see DeMu taking the edge in terms of naval force in the next minute and a half.
Lacking the gold, though, at the moment. He did go into a couple of upgrades, Tawara and the double broad axe. He's not going to be able to afford a sprinkled ship right now. Shinobi coming in, but can't really get any value there at the moment with the archer ship still on the hunt, on the prowl there. Yeah, these walls are going to go up.
Yes, but it gets expensive fast, right? You've had to palisade wall this area. Probably going to have to consider palisade walling the other area as well where your second dock is coming in, right? Like, third dock should be fine because of the Kremlin range, because you'd have to go all the way around the base. But as soon as I say that, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what DeMu is doing right now with the Shinobi.
Going around trying to find some more damage. That's where the excellent Kremlin position comes in here for certain. He isn't really going to have to worry too much about that. What he's going to have to worry about that, though, is that wood line isn't going to last forever. I think he built the Kremlin on a rather slim wood line.
Yeah, and the kind of, like, the reality is if you move to that right side, you can be outranged the Kremlin protection. What I love about the Shinobi and the Scout is it actually looks like a bring your son to work piece, right? He's just following dad around the horse.
A couple of demo ships now also coming out from Zerton. More sprinkled ships as well.
Okay, Papa.
Oh, and the Shinobi, he's going to jump in.
And walk right out.
Yeah, it's going to be very annoying here for DeMu. Definitely is going to need these ships to come out, but now 30-second idle time is going to be forced onto that dock.
This is what I love about the Japanese, actually. I think this is the type of Civ that especially StarCraft players are going to be more comfortable with because of the style of micro. Like, the Shinobi just give you access to this type of play. We didn't really see it in the last game because it's kind of English versus the Jean. If anyone has that edge, it's going to be Jean. But I'm glad that Demu's kind of like straight away kicked that one to the back of his mind. And this early game's looking really good for him. Eco lead, harassment coming, which is going to force idle time as he tries to snipe out the Shinobi. But on top of that, just kind of delaying these docks, already delaying a whole minute rather of production is a big deal in a 2-2 dock play. But as we saw, third added in, and I don't think DeMu, he snuck a dock to the north side, but it's yet to start producing.
DeMu cancel double broadaxe? I don't see it researched right now in the caster overlay. Can we check one of his?
Let's double check. Yeah, some of these texts are not coming through correctly, so he has got
he
it.
did get it. Yeah.
So a little bit of warning right now. Everyone going, oh, why has DeMu not got any text? Why does he not like text? There's an issue with Capture Rage. I don't know. Like ask the devs when Capture Rage is going to get an update because, for example, he has got the wheelbarrow levels, but that's not shown us a unique tech. And this has kind of rippled into others. For example, you will never see melee tech upgrade because they have 4 pips, not 3.
Yeah. Behind all of that, though, he's making great use of the fortress that he has. He's getting that range +1 damage upgrade, which is going to buff up his archer ships, meaning that he's going to get a good bit of additional damage against these demo ships that he wants to counter out. Demo ships that are going forward.
Okay,
and look at that damage coming in. Oh, that's so many dead demos now.
Oh, that was vile. DeMu just made it look like he wasn't paying attention there. Fully baited Zerton out of position and quick pull away. I think he might have even temporarily activated the man the sails between the archer flurries to get out of blast radius. And, well, Zerton, feeling paranoid. He did just move his scout in to see if anything's happening on land. We can see it's just fully focused here. For good reason, DeMu now has the edge.
Does, and behind all of that, Zerton, he doesn't have any more, or rather he only has very few fishing ships. DeMu managed to expand his fishing income quite a bit, and we can see that right now. Oh, Shinobi going down. But right now, DeMu's food income is looking very, very good here compared to what Zerton has, and Boar's going down.
I wondered when he was going to do this. I was surprised he didn't do this sooner, because he got those springles pretty early, and they were just kind of static. That's something I think that's also going to be an edge for the Roost. This map has 3 boars, and as you saw, one is always in range of the sea.
Plus 75 gold. Zerton isn't going to be complaining about that. Yeah, this next ship fight here, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Check the count right now. It's not DeMu, it's Demo coming in from the flank. Not going to work out. Now he breaks down the center. Zerton doesn't have far to run, though. He needs to throw away his own demos to count this play out. Waits for the overextend, but DeMu able to get the big impact hits. The body blocks come out, but it's a significant wad of damage into the fleet. Zerton now at risk of being fully pushed off. In which case, how the hell do you play this?
Oh, no. Yeah, Zerton is off water. 100% off water. He is not going to come back unless he gets some good demo connections of his own. But is that going to be enough? He's buying himself some time. Oh, Springle ship does get taken down, though.
I mean, you have nowhere to run right now, right? Like, you're outnumbered in this area. He's got more ships coming, but Zerton, look at his bank. He's holding nothing in reserve here. Too much wood, not enough food and gold. And keep in mind, he did have some fishing boys garrison inside, so he's missing a significant chunk of food push here. And I don't think unless he gets like a big wallop of a demo into 2 Springles, I can't help but feel DeMu's almost got this in the bag.
He's getting emplacements behind that, so might be able to hold at least defensively for now. Springle ship, though, is going to survive with 11 HP.
Gets away just in time. Now, keep in mind, also, DeMu's now adding the spears, so probably going to try to transition into a little bit of burn down onto these docks, especially now that he sees the emplacements are coming out. Curious game now for Zerton from this position. Really, what can you do? I mean, he gathers the stone, but that's obviously only for the emplacement, so we're not going to see any sort of land transition in his future. It's water or broke.
More emplacements coming in, another emplacement, so he's going to have 3 docks with emplacements. A couple of them, though, aren't in range of each other, so DeMu is certainly going to have the ability to just burn these docks down with his Springle ships.
Yeah, and this is just, right now, Zerton is throwing away a boat because can't defend. He's at least going to scout out, but realistically, this achieves nothing while putting you further behind. Zerton is completely off water, and he's already behind when it comes to land.
Zerton, though, not giving up on water quite yet.
I mean, the reality is, though, from this position, my worry is there's, like, maybe, if you're lucky, 3 deep waters you can use. Meanwhile, DeMu is transitioning into full land with TC Boom, and he almost is at castle edge.
Yeah, this is just all the passive stone that he got from mining gold, able to now just get a second TC up behind all of this. It's just so beautiful for the Japanese, the transition behind all of that, being able to completely boom on land as well. Zerton is still quite heavily on stone, but I don't think it's going to be any more in placement, so might be looking for his own TC, but he's just going to be behind in that case as well. DeMu, 12 fishing ships out there right now.
DeMu moving in. He might just actually spam on the dock. Instead, he sees the fishing boats. Remember, these cost twice the cost of the normal ones. He gets the triple,
go
makes
down.
it worthwhile. Zerton now in deep waters, and not in a good way from here, folks. Not really much fishing he can work with. And remember, his land is kind of limited. He has got the deer and the boy he can play out onto, but they're going to be in exposed territories, ones that DeMu is posturing towards.
DeMu pulling back some of his fishing ships. He still has fishing ships on the other side in this large pond here.
God, it's just a spam of archer ships here. Scary enough to get Zerton away. And another thing to always keep in mind is there's no undermesh. There's also no increase in range damage coming from Zerton's archer boats. So just so many losers in a one-on-one. Oh, DeMu
trying to get a connection. It's so difficult with these Roost demo ships. They have a larger hitbox than the normal demo ships, so it's very difficult to dodge shots. And where those Shinobi, never mind, the dock is just actually burning right now.
Literally
and
just
behind that, and behind that, floating gate is coming in now for DeMu. So Castle Age right around the corner, and you feel like as soon as Castle Age comes in, Zerton, he's miles and miles away from the next age. I feel like as soon as that floating gate completes,
I think
Zerton is going to have to know that he is not likely to win this game.
Yeah, it's looking pretty dark here. And, it's interesting you bring up those demo ships. It's not just the hitbox is bigger in terms of them getting hit easier. It's also because they're fatter, it's harder to get close enough to do maximum demo damage. So, usually we talk about Roost being this powerhouse in water. It's not because of this deep in. Typically, you might remember, like, historically, it's always been this way. Roost tend to kind of get that edge that wins them water off the first 3 or 4 boats, not 20 deep.
Here we go. Yoroshiro's being put inside of the forge. That's going to give DeMu an additional 75 gold here per minute. Water upgrades also coming in. It's going to get a ton more armor and health on his ships. And with that, demo ships, they're going to have to look really, really closely in order to get some value. Once again, get sniped down. Certainly, he was looking for a timing with the age up, but it's just not there.
No, it's far too late. Like, he'd need probably 6 demo ships, and as we already highlighted, it's harder to hit with those demos anyway. DeMu in a prime position here. Zerton continues to try and act as if he's still alive. He did go for a second TC, but what you have to remember in this game is we have God Vision. Zerton lost his scout. He doesn't know how thick things are at home on land for DeMu as well.
Yeah, 75 to 51 economic units right now, and certainly just doesn't have the army to really push in right now. Armor Toll has come in, so all of the ships from DeMu now with bonus HP, and with that, GG gets called, and the series is going to be tied up now, 1-1.
Yep, DeMu just needed that kind of wake-up slap to the face. I mean, honestly, I probably needed a wake-up slap towards the end of an hour-long game that ended in a wonder and a 1v1. But he recovers quickly. He makes this one quick to make up for it. 16 minutes in, he'll even the series up 1-1 apiece. Best of 7, though, so we've still got some way to go. What an interesting matchup as well. You saw how things kind of got dicey, because like the reality is when you see these Shinobi, you highlight that the counter to them is just, wall the docks. It's going to be fine. You have to remember that one of the downsides of the Roost is that the walls are more tanky, but it feels like they take a little bit longer, and it's still a big investment for a Civ that needs to put everything into the wood on water, especially with a triple dock opening here. Just kind of feels like the Shinobi counter is a wall with 1 dock, but if you have to go 2 or 3, at that point, you just need to find a better solution, right? Because the cost of those palisades definitely adds up.
Yeah, indeed. Here we can see military count. At one point, Zerton just losing all of his ships there to those great demo connections, and yeah, after that, it just went downhill from there. Means that the next match is going to be right around the corner. We can take a look at the draft in just a little bit so we can see which map is going to be picked here now by Zerton in our game number 3, and it's going to be Gorge, and we'll be seeing Jon now being used by DeMu here against the Malians from Zerton.
Interesting one, actually. So Gorge is typically a very exposed map, and we have seen that for a lot of players, Jon has been favored in those kind of environments because you usually can't hide from her. But the flip side argument here is like mass javelins, right? Like this is a classic kind of Civ that exploits that. If you remember historically back in Gorge at Red Bull, one of the more favored civs was English for that same reason, that these Lombos could reach in and snipe whatever they wanted and you couldn't do much against it. Malians have a similar role, only they tend to be their own beefcake. So curious to see what DeMu has in mind going up against this. My feeling is you still, well, even more clearly go into women at arms, right? Because otherwise javelins just wipe you. Does feel like Zerton has to come out, and if we consider how most Malian players play with the old meta build, I'd say they're more turtle oriented than map control-y, right?
Yeah, I agree. Something that I'm thinking about right now is on Gorge. Where are you going to be putting your cattle ranches? Because the back of your TC, there's a really, really large woodline there.
Yeah.
So the cattle, the placement is going to be a little bit awkward. Now, there is a way to place them where you don't have like a cattle ranch in between the landmark and your TC. I think that's probably going to be the way to place them here. Because you have to be very, very conservative with the space there. If Jean is able to really get a foothold in your base and like level up, get experience, at one point, if she gets to level 3, she's just going to be able to dive you in Feudal Age, and that can be very, very tough to deal with. Then again, though, we're thinking of the Malians and their unique roster of units. We mentioned the Javelin Throwers, but what they also get is the Musafadi Warriors. Those could also be there.
That's a very fair point, actually. It's something that kind of like glance over quite often, but that's going to put a high pressure on Jean to always have the scout nearby, because you've got to remember, women at arms, that means he's heavily armored, means there's Musafadi are good traders. So I think there's going to be this very delicate line that needs to be balanced from Jean on what the knight count is and what the archer count is. That's presuming they want to go to that comp, but considering the way French typically play, and I'd say actually Jean is kind of like a more aggressive version of the French, we do typically see it being knights into archers.
Yeah, knights into archers gonna be the play most likely for our Jean player here. I'm thinking of a potential opening where maybe as the Malians you just start up with the barracks and then immediately spam up Musafadi warriors, because they also have a ton of movement speed. Maybe you could use those in order to try and snipe Jean when she tries to go for a ball kill there. Then again, though, they're a little bit too squishy to the point where you might lose them and then you're just feeding Jean.
I think the worry as well is you instantly show Musafadi, it means you went racks, archers come out straight away. On top of that, like you said, she's quite tanky. The reality is you have to think of Jean as some of this thing that you can't trade with, you have to kill, right? And the issue with just 5 Musafadi, Cleave comes out, they're losing health pretty quick. Even if they almost kill Jean and all die, almost isn't quite good enough. You know, it's that classic, if it's not first place, you're still a loser. Because in Jean's case, she'll just heal up to full.
And here we go. Game number 3 is starting right now in the color blue. We see Zerton playing as the Malians. We're out here on Gorge. On the opposite side, in the color red, we got DeMu playing as Jeanne d'Arc.
Should be a fun one. See who can take the lead. Of course, Zerton opening the series will win. DeMu with a quick and swift answer back on those sparkly new Japanese. But in a map like this, it's all about aggression. Gorge is designed to force you to come out of your base and come out swinging. Yes, you have a safe wood line, but everything else leaves you feeling exposed. And look at this generation. It definitely plays out that way for Jean. That gold could not be closer to the Malian base if it wanted to be.
Yeah, that's a very... Looking at the gold there for DeMu, it's very far away. Zerton still has a relatively nice bet there for the gold, but yeah, that gold is in Timbuktu. It's going to be very difficult to defend that one. But we have those new and improved palisade walls. So with them comes the option to get some really, really creative walling going. And yeah, you can even in a position like this, you can actually wall to the berries and create these kind of choke points where the gold is still going to be relatively safe.
Yeah, like we've seen when you get in the mid game, people do tend to wall the flanks just because that's where most of the vital resources are at as you scale outwards. But the challenge is initially getting all that crap down. So really big eyes are going to be on the movement that Zerton wants to take here. Because one thing I do find a bit dicey is like you've got this gold spawn on the left side. Typically, you want to play towards your fat stack vein, right? So you've kind of got this tug of war of where you want to move your economy once you move past Feudal Age.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult though, going for an expansion against a civilization like Jeanne d'Arc. If you actually go for it and you lose control of it at one point, it's similar to how when you play against the Mongols, whenever you lose buildings, the Mongol player is gonna get bounty. The same applies to Jeanne d'Arc getting experience. So the pit mine's gonna give her 15 experience, and after that, every single house is gonna provide her with 2.5 experience.
Yes, and it's that kind of like compounded effect. Like this is always the trade-off when you try and place those houses down. You know, it's upside I get gold, downside against Mongols traditionally, as you just said, John, means that actually I'm always getting some return. So that's why I always like to focus on. Is the way I always like to describe to people is like a simpler way of thinking it is kind of with relics, right? When you're playing like HRE versus, I don't know, let's say HRE because that's the easiest way to do it. Both of them want the relics, so it's not just like I'm getting a positive, you're also getting a negative. So we'll see how Zerton wants to approach that. It's going to be the Mansa Quarry, and some of you did highlight is like, where do you really want to drop the Fulani here? Honestly, it has to be on the front side, right? If this is going to be that typical castle build, if you try to drop Fulani behind you, you might find yourself only with enough room for, say, 5 of these pastures. Or 5 of these ranches, rather.
Yeah, I think maybe you could also do it to the side. There's a build where you put the ranches right next to the TC and just have them stick out a little bit, similar to how you build the English farms sometimes when you want to get like 10 English farms inside the influence of a single mill. In a similar way, you can build the ranches there around your TC.
Yoink.
Getting some sheep there. Now, School of Cavalry coming in, and DeMu's doing something else here compared to what Zerton did in the last game. He's building the School of Cavalry only with Sean. Now, what that means is the H-up is going to be coming in roughly 4 minute and 4 minute 30 seconds. But as soon as the School of Cavalry is going to finish, he's immediately going to have enough experience on Jeanne d'Arc to be able to get her to level 2, and then she's going to be able to run out onto the map. So night timing is a little bit delayed, but the level up is going to be coming in a little bit earlier.
And sometimes, like, you know, there's different openings you want to go for here. We've seen some people just immediately move to the ball. Some people try to harass the eco line. On a map like this, both can be feasible, mainly because the woman at arms is so tanky, she doesn't instantly die to a TC. Against this particular Civ, I'd say you're better off hunting boar first, just in case it's javelins or Musafadi, which will just clap your cheeks. In fact, can we, like, where are the boars here? North side, how many wolves are left alive, right? Because this is the thing as well. It's kind of, it's weird. It's why people thought that, in a way, Roost would be one of the best counters to Jeanne d'Arc, is because for Jeanne d'Arc, you don't want to kill the wolves straight away, right? You want to wait for her to come out. Whereas the Roost will remove that variable from the map straight off the bat.
Exactly. Zerton, looking good when it comes to Shikon. There we go. Age-up comes in immediately. Woman-at-Arms going to be running out to the boar in the top side corner. It's going to be getting herself a nice 50 experience boost there. First couple of Donzos are coming out from Zerton. Just going to be in defense. And there we go. Cattle ranches are going to be placed in the back, but might very likely be just scaled further up onto the left side of the TC.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense because what you're going to inherently do here is you're going to drop the ranch, you're going to drop the Fulani. You're going to create a lot of choke points for all these buildings, which is important up against French and French variants because they typically go heavy into melee units like the Knights. So if you're able to create these choke points, it means less of them can be involved in engagements, especially if you want to go mass javelins eventually.
Look at that. DeMu immediately with the outpost there. It's going to be able to secure that boar. Early boar economy is going to be very lovely there. It's going to have very, very nice and sustainable food economy for quite a while. Archery range already up behind all of that as well.
Yeah, this is something we expect to see, right? Like, Zerton's already been scouted on the Donzo opening. But it's not just Donzo. Like, the moment you drop a Rax, it doesn't matter what unit's coming out there. The answer is always going to be standardized for Jeanne. Immediately into the archer count. And Zerton needs to scout this out quickly. Like, those javelins do take a little bit of time to get out. And also, in terms of scaling them, one scary part for him could be the fact that, considering how exposed his pit mine is, if that ever gets shut down, you might struggle to float that line between spamming javs and spamming cow.
Wolf is getting taken down in range of Sean, so gets the experience and another boar. With that, Sean, once again, is going to find herself in a position where she's going to be getting a lot of the experience from the natural huntable units on the map. Archer range is coming in now as well.
And you can feel that paranoia from Zerton, right? Like, has to play that full contained style. My worry is if he doesn't build enough units and tries for faster timing. Like, it's not the worry that your opponent dives you and kills you. It's that often the best builds we've seen out of the Malians is ones where they force you to have to trade with them, and over time, they build up to 20, 30 jabs, then hit that tech timing. Because diving them is difficult with that quantity, and it also means they get immediate wallop out of their vet upgrades, as opposed to kind of a tickle from 5 or 6 units into Castle Age.
Outpost has been built by Zerton on the pit mine. It's not going to be in range, though, to to protect that house, but the javelin throws should be able to deter DeMu enough from trying to further aggress on that pit mine for now.
I mean, this is a weird build in that, like, right now, there isn't that much that should scare Jean, right? Like, you haven't built those Musafadi we talked about. It's mass Donzos. These Donzos do have a bit more health, but they cost more. The reality is, like, if you go in and you trade with Jean, it's always important to highlight this. She heals. She's got her own version of a chivalry. So you would have just lost HP, a resource in this engagement that's never going to be healed, while your opponent replenishes.
I'm a little bit scared right now for certain with the way he's base
Yep.
building. And I'm not sure where exactly he's going to be putting his cattle ranches. First villager of the game is going to go down 5 experience, go over to Jean. Now losing a villager, it's not the losing a villager is not the worst for the Malians, since they have so many different ways of getting passive resource income that they're still going to be ahead in theory.
That was a lot of paranoia out of Zerton as well. You saw that, right? Like, his Donzo could have finished that scout, which doesn't sound like much, but it's vision denial. And instead, he immediately kind of turned around ahead of getting those stabs out. Reason that could have been important, if we're talking about Musafadi as maybe an ambush squad effective unit, that ambush is only going to work if this scout is removed from the table. So kind of problematic that Zerton's playing like that. I think he has got kind of a weird position, but he's also giving maybe a bit too much respect to this Jean.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, he does have the javelin throws. He does have good counters for that. Still, it's difficult. If you just take one bad engagement, one bad fight, that might be the difference between Jean being level 2 for another 5 minutes or her suddenly having level 3 at 10 minutes into the game. And as soon as she gets to that level 3 in Feudal Age, she's just going to be able to dive your TC non-stop 24/7.
It is quite the Val atrocity, right? Gets horseback, gets better stats, gets an increased healing when outside of combat. It's just a pesky bugger to try and breach. And that's before we even talk about the possibility of adding a few beefy men-at-arms companions in there. So definitely is always on the mind of these high-level players whenever they contest Jean. It's usually why a lot of players just give Jean map control. Because coming out and trying to face off to her is essentially equivocal to ripping your own face off.
Yeah, indeed. You just can't really contest that. If you go for a contest, then you're just feeding Jean, and you never want to be called out feeding in a MOBA or something similar to that.
Hey, I'm
Never a
trained
good
for
feeling.
this, man. I got more train on this. I think everyone in this game right now. If I'm playing Jean, if I'm playing against Jean in a team game, I'm like, no. They're like, come help me. She's murdering me. No. She'll get more XP even faster. I'll wait here.
It's fine, guys. I watched the Bows once. I know what I'm doing. The feeding is okay.
10,000 hours of being flamed by people I can't understand has prepared me for this moment. Never again.
Army numbers still building up right now. Value for certain, looking good. And the javelin throws are going to be a nice counter unit. However, you are going to have to micro them a lot. And the scout now finally goes down.
Oh, wow.
In these battles, you have to micro the javelin throwers a lot. Because you can't just let them attack onto knights. You want to use them against the archers or against Jean d'Arc.
Now, this is interesting, Crackedy. Is it me, or does it look like DeMu's balancing his resources, maybe thinking about an idea of, like, Castle Age here?
Still getting a couple of upgrades. He does have a good amount of villagers over on gold.
Yeah.
He's definitely keeping the option open for Castle Age, but I'm not sure if he's really going to get anything out of that. I think ideally, he's going to be able to keep this game in Feudal Age for the next 6 minutes, 5 to 6 more minutes.
Yeah.
And if he's able to do that, Jean is just passively going to be able to reach level 3.
Well,
and then he could go for the all-in.
Yeah, my thought around the XP there to get level 3 is, like, obviously the value you get out of Russian Castle Age is you can just capture those sacred sites, right? So I think that scout getting sniped you mentioned earlier is a critical deal here, because DeMu may have been considering it before the scout loss, but now he doesn't really know if Zerton's continuing to scale that army. You'd assume so, it's Malians, but you don't have a clear count, and that's the type of count I like to see. That's a freebie. 24 XP, I'll slide that in the pocket and say thank you.
Yeah, that's a large army against 2 helpless, defenseless wolves there.
By the way, I think
to get that experience in.
We should highlight for people, because I noticed that in the previous Jean game, there was a lot of concern about how OP the ability to buy back is. It's not as broken as people think, right? Because, like, there is a cooldown. It seems a lot of people haven't noticed this. Like, when you use the buyback, it goes on cooldown for, I believe it's 2 minutes.
Yeah, so you can't just rapidly buy her back again and again and again.
Yeah, otherwise Zerton would have in that first game. Oh, she's dead. Buy back. Oh, she's dead. Buy back. Oh, she's dead. Still got 10k gold. Buy back. Buy back. Buy back. No, he wasn't able to do that. So, you know, it's an interesting take on like clearly was inspiration from the devs on like Dota 2, which has that buyback functionality. But similarly to that game, once it's used, it's burned, and it's a different way of thinking about the game strategically. Like in Dota 2, it's a very big thing to kind of bait out an opponent's buyback, so that the next fight you have a win condition. Functions in a similar way here.
Looks like DeMu now is looking towards that Castle Age. I'm a little bit confused by this. I think French or Jean d'Arc doesn't ever really need to go for Castle Age. What they can do instead is they can just mass up units, wait until the opponent goes for Castle Age, and as soon as the Castle Age comes in, hit them at a timing where they don't have the upgrades yet and just flood under TC. But now Royal Institute is going to be coming in. With that, though, comes another timing chance for DeMu if he gets that Royal Bloodlines and the Veterancy on his Knights.
So I actually quite like this play because I think that this is an alternative for Jeans who can't fight their opponent because they won't come out. It's like now there's 3 sacred sites on this map. You can posture and capture. And the reality is like, I agree with what you say normally with the Jean where you just scale, then force a fight at some weird point. There is a fair point to be made though that the comps the Malians go for here counters yours, right? Like Knights have a very big issue against these Donzos because they're probing attack with javelins, they have better base stats. And then those real javelins behind it just eviscerate archer lines. So I can kind of see it from DeMu's perspective here.
Ron just got 6 experience from killing certain sheep. That's interesting.
Wait, what?
Yeah, she just killed the sheep, and that's plus 6 experience.
Okay, hear me out. You gather all your sheep, you run over to the enemy scout, you delete your scout, he gets the sheep, then you cleave them all down.
Next level strategies. But now, age up coming in for both players, and Zerton. He's prepping for a very, very massive sofa transition here behind all of that.
Can't delete scout? Wait, can you? I've never tried deleting my scout a bit, but I usually just let the enemy
used to be It used to be the thing where when you delete the scout, he's going to be stuck at 1 health.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
But that has been fixed. By now, you can delete the scout.
Yeah, I was about to say. I would assume that one's gone, because I remember the tilt of that in the early days. Checkmate, chat. Checkmate. Fulani on the way, though. Problem is, this timing might be a bit dicey. We can already see the elite upgrades being queued in with the archers as well. Or not elite, veteran upgrades. And on top of that, sacred sites being captured. So this is the key timing I was talking about. And the crazy part is because Zerton chose his tech up over playing out to the map, it means that John might be ready for level 3 before those Castle Age techs kick in.
Yeah, also able to immediately capture up the sacred sites. Even in her level 2 form, as soon as Castle Age comes in. That's going to get additional resource, additional gold now. First couple of Sofa are now in queue for certain. He does have resource. He's going to immediately queue up all of his veterancy upgrades. And there we go. Crackedy. Level 3.
We ride.
Can Zerton hold this?
Like, he can hold his head in his hands and cry, because this is going to be a hard one to try and hold onto RL. Charge is ready to go in. Knights have been upgraded. Archers have been upgraded. John has been upgraded. And she has summoned the champions. It is time to rock and roll. Torches out straight away onto the cattle. This is problematic, right? Trying to scale on the sofas, you can't afford to lose these. First one is going to be burnt down. Charge comes in and DeMu. Well, that's ambitious there. He even traps John inside. Tries to get away as the pinch comes in. Able to just split it back from this, but leaves half the Knights behind. And I got to say, that looked like a decent exchange for Zerton.
It seemed to be so at the beginning, but the Knights are still remaining. Archers are still remaining. Now the Donzos are slowly but surely cleaning up the Knights. Madam's still in there.
He's still attacking Jean this entire time.
Yeah, she doesn't die. We don't talk about that.
Oh my god. Honestly, I think like DeMu maybe kind of got a bit overzealous there. Had that TC been wailing away at the archers, DeMu would be down to probably like 12 military, 15 military. But instead, Jean proves that actually her role in the game is to be the frontline tank there. Sustains throughout that, gets away, and remember, she has quite a lot of heal at this stage of the game. I believe it's 2 health a second while out of combat.
Oh, Knights do find the front line from Zerton's army. Have to fall back for now. And was trying to get some more Knights out, got some arbalistry as well, and now Men-at-Arms coming in from Jean. I like this play. Usually the French, they don't really have any incentives to go into Men-at-Arms. However, Jean, she's going to be able to consecrate not just her archery ranges and stables, but also her barracks. Yeah. Getting those very cheap Men-at-Arms out on the field It's going to be a very tanky and cheaply produced frontline for him.
Now, I love that idea because it means you essentially threw away the knights because you don't want to keep them long term. So their best exchange was just getting you an extra XP juice, right? So now you get 2 men at arms for the price of a knight. Scales quite nicely. Discount's going to be the same. But on top of that, the other interesting thing I'm looking toward down the line is whether maybe we see, a keep or two and a play to kind of layer in those companions as well, because they are quite the beefcakes. As soon as I say that, though, is this like a bait right now? Because DeMu has added in men-at-arms, but he's going back for Royal Bloodlines, which suggests that long-term, the plan is to go for the Cavalry boys.
Why not both? I guess DeMu might be thinking here. Sofa raid coming in on the Berry villagers. Only enough place for 5 villagers there in the outpost. Wololo coming in.
There's so many relics on the screen. This is kind of ridiculous. So looks like he's going to end up losing the Monk. There's 2 relics are parked there. In the meantime, Zerton hasn't started playing for relics whatsoever. DeMu already has 2 in the bank, as well as 1 sacred site, a third one on the way home. And Jean on her way into the base once more. Healed up the half here. She's looking for a good cleave opportunity. Needs to be careful of those Donzo, though. Nice cleaning up on the front line of Sofa. And happy to back away for the moment. Jean just continues to farm throughout this. And the Divine Restoration will let her stay longer.
Oh, this is difficult. The army from Zerton is starting to disappear. Jean being able to heal up all of these units.
How are the Knights not... There were so many Donzos here.
Not anymore. The Archer is just cleaning all of those up now. Zerton did get a lot of villager kills behind all of that. But now DeMu is going to be in a position to do the same thing. Oh no. God. It's going to be the cleave on the javelin throwers. A couple of them go down immediately.
I think this is no imported armors either. Are you seeing how quickly these archers are actually cleaning up the Sofas?
He does have imported armor on them.
What the bloody hell is that damage output? You barely would think it here. Finally gets through the front line, but at the end of the day, DeMu, I mean, he's just running straight to the bank with good old baby Jean here. I don't even want to know how close level 4 is.
Oh, but behind all of that, Zerton also managed to kill some villagers. Once again on the side of DeMu, Zerton having a 10 villager lead, and on top of that, with the Grand Falani Corral, does have the Malian food economy.
Oh yes.
Oh, and he finds the villagers on the farms.
There's no textiles here either, I don't think. So DeMu just has to cut and run. Now, the scary part is if we look back in the base of Zerton, did he even burn any ranches in the end? I don't think he did. So that Fulani is completely uninterrupted, no cattle kills whatsoever. It's crazy as well, because when DeMu came in with the initial big army at the beginning of all this, he tried to burn down the ranch. And it seemed like he felt halfway through the damage wasn't there. Or maybe he was trying to force Zerton to engage. But either way, this sustained fire underneath the TC, it would have been good for DeMu had it not been for this read from Zerton to play the map wide.
And now we're seeing Spearmen coming out from DeMu. Needs to get them out to be able to deal with those Sofas together with the Arbaletria. But actually no Arbaletria out on the field right now for him.
I don't really know how you play Arbaletria in this type of map as well. You'd think it's just good against Sofas, but the reality is like DeMu is struggling due to a lack of walls now. Now, Game 1 was more worrying for that detail. Game 3, you can kind of see why he doesn't have as much walling going on, right? Like, he's playing pseudo-French. What that means is you're meant to naturally have map control. You don't tend to see this Civ wall in often.
Yeah, I get the feeling a lot. Walls are definitely a must-have to build at some point in the game, and Priest is going to be able to bring that relic back on home. Yeah, having the open base, like usually as a French, you're fine with having the open base because you're going to be the one that dictates the tempo of the game. Not so much though against the Malians, and now Jean, a little bit exposed here. Actually kills 2 of the Sofas, excuse you.
36 XP, don't mind me, off I go. I mean, I was wondering why he wasn't capturing the Sacred Site. That's a decent chunk of XP, but Sofas seem easy to take at this stage of the game. Raid out on the gold line. Looks like he's going to have to try to utilize that outpost, but rough pathfinding here. Somehow gets away with it.
Guess the rough pathfinding isn't exclusive to DeMu there on that one.
I like the Sofas 4. Oh, you're running this way? Yeah, I'll follow you. Oy, oy, oy. So reset, go again, and afterwards, Zerton now 13 villagers up with the Fulani on top of that. He's got a lot of bank. DeMu's at least got something elsewhere, right? He has got his hands on one of the sacred sites, as well as 3 of the 5 relics, a 4th one on the way home. But it doesn't quite add up for the difference so far. And Zerton, those Sofa numbers are getting scary, folks. Up to 20 plus. We're even seeing the French being forced to build spears because they cannot match that cavalry for cavalry.
DeMu, once again, though, building up a good amount of military units here. And he could be going for a very nice all-in. He still has Jean. And as long as you have Jean, there is hope.
Mainly because there is Jean. And she hits like a truck.
That's a big army, though.
No, it's fine. There is Jean. We must have faith, Crackedy. Do you believe?
I need a lot of that. I believe. I believe in Jean. I believe in the balancing.
She will deliver us.
Let's see if DeMu can do it here.
I wonder if we can quickly glance at the regular overlay so we can see how close she is to level 4, actually. I think that's a critical ingredient that's going to matter a lot in this upcoming fight.
Yeah, she gets a little bit of range with level 4. So she's going to be able to attack from the second row then.
Yeah, so we'll have to smuggle into the normal UI for a second. Ooh, spoilers alert!
Oh, she's close. She's very close.
Yeah, that's like, what, 150 maybe? So that's just a small skirmish away from being up.
Yeah, it's going to be 10 sofas, and she's going to reach the next level. And at the same time, though, looks like there's not going to be too much of a straight engagement coming in soon here, because Zerton, he's out on the hunt again.
Oh, but can you force him back home is what I'm wondering here. Now, DeMu, he hasn't really overburdened these pocket ecos, right? Outposts to defend each of them. But the problem is if you do commit to the base, you're going to know as certain that you can just keep probing this and never get any sort of punishment for it. So DeMu backs away entirely. He's still posturing around that center, right? Wants to capture the sacred site to guarantee that level 4. Is going to take significant damage up here, though. Oh, all the villagers. What?
Yeah, it's something I noticed, that sometimes units can actually charge onto units that are in an outpost.
Yeah, but, like, my favorite part is the way they just ungarrison on the side. Like, whoops, I'm gone too. So that's going to be a big hit in the gold pocket for DeMu. DeMu, he has got a decent amount of units that would cost gold in this situation. In fact, we're seeing him now switching to horsemen, but they're yet to be upgraded. And it looks like we're once again going to dive the Malian base. It's XP farming time, baby.
XP farming time indeed, and Zerton's army, it's not really complete here.
They give 9 XP each.
What? Okay, it's definitely worthwhile to go for those. Fight is now about to happen here.
Fight at home as well. I mean, that's going to force a lot of idle time. DeMu is just going to have to go dark on the economy right here. Divine Restoration comes out, giving that 30% increase on missing HP. But is it going to be enough to break this? Zerton continues to retreat back here. Paranoid. Level 4 comes out, and here we go. It's party time. He activates the attack speed aura, looks to dive in deeper here. And this choke point actually working out for him temporarily, as the melee mosh pit cannot get over each other to reach the French Knights.
Javelin throws trying to kill her, but they barely tickle her at this point in time. Same time, Sophus, though, still in the base from DeMu. Oh, the Knights, they got stuck on the mill there. Needs the front line. Now he's pulling back.
Now, something interesting happens here at this point in the game, right? Because if we have a look at what Jean is categorized as, if I'm not mistaken, she has got the range tag now, right? Okay, no siege. Okay, so she won't take the extra damage from the jabs. Man, that's such a pesky one. Because he went for the siege component, is the attack speed aura, right? At the level 4.
KP. At this point, though, the Sofa rates, they've just done too much.
It's Jean, Crack.
It's 27 villagers.
But it's Jean.
Not even Jean. Not even Jean. No, I refuse to believe. At this point, I refuse to believe. 26 villagers DeMu has been reduced to. Military value doubled by Zerton. Malian food economy still operational.
But if she just gets level 5, Crackedy, she gets a tactical nuke.
He's gonna need more than a tactical nuke at this point in time to come back in this one. A couple more Royal Knights get found out, get taken down.
Yeah, this is looking grim. I mean, it's been kind of going this way. Oh, to my body. How to put this? Earlier on, this would have actually saved the game. This point, there's not much left to save.
Oh, that hurts. The raids, they did so much value there. 48 villager kills by Zerton in this one. DeMu killed 21 himself, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough. And behind that, Zerton, with the cattle economy, it's pretty much like he's on a 2TC build right now. It's like he's got 80 villagers.
I mean, it honestly feels like DeMu's only choice maybe is to try and go for a second TC, play a long con on recovery, but even that, like, you need Zerton to be very complacent. If we're being totally realistic about Zerton, he does have this habit of maybe being a bit more, shall we say, patient than he needs to be in games we've watched historically. So maybe DeMu can try to play that wide angle, but considering the player Zerton is now compared to a year ago, he doesn't sit on his ass as often as he used to, right? He's better at IDing these win conditions than he used to be.
More farms coming out. Level 4 Jean. Let's
That's
see
bold.
if maybe she can turn the tide. Oh, lots of the Donzo's. Yeah, the Donzo Spears didn't really do anything there.
Cleave comes out. If he can keep staggering this, he's going to have multiple charges stacked here. Divine Restoration's going to come in. Donzo's diving through is dangerous here. They're trying to block the retreat, but good micro from DeMu. Gets another good cleave out. There is no way that this will happen, though. I refuse to believe that even Jean can do it. The army is slowly getting
going onto javelins.
Staggered formation, though.
Still gets a bunch of them.
Still. You've lost half your effective army, and Zerton's now has 6 times what you do. One more cleave comes out. If we check, you see the cooldown is still pretty big, so running out of Hail Marys here.
Cannon comes out on the front line, though.
Yeah, but it's got that roll shot, right? Just kapow them. Go for it. Wait, it's not even fighting! TG. All right. I respect DeMu for trying to see how that one could go. Like, what is the limit of Jean here? We found it. She's been broken. Just needed something more broken. Marlian's OP. Please nerf. Go next.
We're live min-maxing Jean d'Arc now, but yeah, the raids. We can look at the villager graph here and really paints a clear picture at which point in time in the game DeMu lost it. That one raid towards the end when DeMu went for the all-in on his opponent, but didn't have any walls up to defend his main economy and his villagers. He just lost too much, and he wasn't able to finish the game off there.
No, and I think the interesting play kind of had here, right, is like if he played pocket ecos, it makes sense up to a point. But when he went for that dive, you're essentially conceding some level of map control because, and this is going to sound weird, when you play with Jean and you make that type of play, it's kind of like someone saying, I'm going to build a TC. And what I mean by that is you're essentially farming resources in your opponent's base, right? I think that was the breakout point that Zerton needed, because from that point on, we saw him just play the wide flanks, understanding that essentially DeMu had thrown away map control while playing pocket eco French. So good read by Zerton means he gets another point on the board. It does put him up now 2-1, and it looks like our third game is going to also feature the Malians.
Indeed, it's gonna be the Ottomans versus the Malians, and it's gonna be on Dry Arabia. So our default map coming out now in game number 4. Zerton got himself a nice lead on the board right now with a 2-1. But DeMu, known as the Malian King, will he be able to beat the Ottomans? We've seen a lot of this matchup in the Call to Arms tournament, and historically, it's always been very, very close between the Malians and the Ottomans, not really favoring one majorly over the other. It's always been very close, but if the Ottomans get to like the later stages of Castle Age, get all of the Janissaries out, it can be very tough for the Malians to be able to get their Sofa mass.
I often feel like the Ottomans kind of have an edge when it comes to the transitional periods, right? Because typically, like, if you're Ottomans and you're up against Malians, feels like your typical players just rush Castle Age, right? Because like if you play Prolonged Feudal, you're playing off of archers a lot of time. Your opponent's going to build javelins. If you're playing off your Sipahi, mass Donzos. But the crazy part is like we highlighted in that last game, for Malians, you don't really want to rush Castle Age because that means you haven't got this big bulk army that you've been kind of edging out a lead with, right? Like, because I think that's what makes Malians seem so bonkers is their very safe economy in conjunction with the fact that they are pushing out units that trade more efficiently than almost any unit in the game, right? Because they don't have to take damage in return. So would love to see this fast castle build because I think that's really when the Ottomans start to ramp up these days. And, you know, then it puts a fire under DeMu's ass. He has to get out. He has to do enough damage because if we ever reach that Imperial Age, I'm never betting against the Ottomans here.
Yeah, Imperial Age Ottomans, once you get those great bombards out, and ever since that landmark, the Istanbul, what was it, the Istanbul Observatory, ever since it's been buffed to provide you plus 100% production speed on those buildings, it's so good. It's so good. You're getting all of these units out for free, basically, it used to be that with the MIA, you were getting roughly like 1,000 resource per minute out of your military academies. Now with the Istanbul Observatory, that basically shoots up to 1,500.
It's quite frankly insane. I mean, there's been a lot of theories that this was going to get nerfed. We reached an expansion. It's yet to happen. Let's see if we can put another reason on the board that maybe the Ottomans need to be brought down a peg or two with some late game nerfs. It's time for game number 4. Zerton leads 2-1. And well, this Civ matchup is heavily favoring the Ottomans. I think it's like a 65% win rate in favor of Ottos. DeMu, though, is a magical man on those Malians. Let's see if he can beat the odds.
Here we go. Early military school. Very likely to be coming out here from him. Has got the stone for it. With that, it's going to be able to get a couple of attacks out on these houses that DeMu is going to be placing around his pit mine. Might be able to burn 1 or 2 of them. It's going to be interesting to see how many houses DeMu is going to be placing around that pit mine. If he's going to go for the full 6, or if he's going to cut it short in favor of a faster fuel age time with only 4 around them.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be full house. Yeah, it's full house.
Yeah. I'm not surprised he's going to kind of play that greed. The curious part for me is what Zerton kind of wants to do. I'm looking at his opening spawn here. There is something that makes you feel a bit paranoid about this, right? Whenever you get a full gold spawn against a side that has like long-range units, you kind of feel like you have to defend yourself. So Zerton will immediately go for the Spearman opening, which makes a lot of sense, right? Against the Malians, you do burn houses for free. And it will allow him to kind of scout out what DeMu's initial transition is going to be without having realistically built any real units himself.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to really be a big investment there for him to get those free spearmen out, and you want to get that military school out at some point in time anyway. So not really a big investment there for him, and he's going to get some value out of it for sure.
Oh, I'm wondering actually, like, is there a way, if you're playing Ottomans here, is there a way you'd like to play long feudal, or were we kind of right in the analysis that you just run it into Castle Age as quickly as possible?
Think you can just react to what your opponent's doing, but at the same time, an anonymous gifter coming in with 50 gifted subs, Andy also coming in with 10 gifted subs. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Thank you for supporting EGC.
Pesty, you owe me a raise.
Level 6 subtrain. Here we go. Gonna have to readjust the camera. Yeah, we have to adjust the positions after this.
What can I say, man? I'm like hot off playing part of a level 13, level 11 subtrain on Method. I'm developing a gift for this at this stage. I think I found my calling. Just need to make it work on my own channel at some point. Well, let's see what's gonna. Oh God.
All right. He's respecting. He's paying respect, but.
Sorry. Continue. I'll be fine in a minute.
Saharan Trade Network coming out here now for DeMu. Now, in theory, should this game go to the very, very late game, the markets are in a nice position for trade. But in the meantime, he's going to be losing out on that 75 gold per minute that he would be getting out of the Mansa Quarry. Is going to be able to protect his pit mine very nicely. Is it going to be worth, though? That's going to be the question. But, I mean, if Zerton's going to see this, he will very likely not be going full aggression on that pit mine.
No, but you'll be content with this, right? Yeah, you built military school, fine, you're always going to transition. The whole goal of this military school opening is either to idle resources or force a reaction you're out your opponent. Honestly, any day of the week I see someone build a Saharan trade network as the Malians, I'd say mission accomplished on forcing a reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Twin Minute Dress about to be coming in here. For certain. Very nice timing. Gets it up with 6 villagers. So even with that early military academy, we're looking at a roughly 4-minute age up here from both players.
And then Madrissa was placed on the south side, right? Yeah, this is really important in this particular matchup. When you're playing against Malians, English, and now actually Byzantines as well, you can't even risk sticking that Madrissa anywhere but the position that would give you quickest garrison, just because those pesky long-range units can always slap you. What's our sheep count, by the way? It looks like Zerton got a decent chunk, right? I think he's still got 4 to bring home. And, okay, yeah, no, he's cooking. Mutton, to be specific. A lot of mutton.
So villagers on gold, so could just be that typical cattle trade boom that we see a lot of times from the Malians. Also gets the economy upgrades in.
And this does look more and more like you know, we could be leaning into that kind of castle age build, but then as soon as I say that, this many villagers onto the stone suggests we're going to see some scaling.
Yeah, so very likely at second TC, and I mean, makes sense. When you're playing up against the Malians, they're going to be scaling with the cattle boom. Just making military schools is not going to be able to keep up with that, so going for that second TC is definitely a way to scale with it. And that's where the Saharan Trade Network comes in. Because of that, Zerton is kind of forced to play this one in a little bit more macro-oriented playstyle. If he just goes into full aggression now, he's going to be hard-pressed to really find some good angles to attack from.
Yeah, and the interesting part to me is like Zerton. Typically, if you're playing long feudal, inherently your choice is going to be go to Sapahi, but the static point defense landmark from DeMu makes it a little bit harder to breach into that base. So maybe it's that he's looking to snipe out that second gold vein. Like, this might have been something that Zerton scouted and immediately said, okay, you're actually exposed, because it wasn't one of those silly spawns we sometimes get on like Dry Arabia where you've got just two nicely placed veins on the same screen and you're smiling if you're a Malian.
Yeah, and that second gold vein in the back there. DeMu is going to be expanding onto that. Zerton, he's looking around, trying to find some value. First couple of cattle are just now coming in here for DeMu. Zerton soon has enough stone in order to drop that second TC, just like in the wood for now.
Yeah, where's the... So the scouting coming out from DeMu, he fully knows this isn't aggression, by the way, because he just saw those spearmen standing there. Like, you'd only stick them there, park them like that, if it's something to try and block any harassment on your second TC placement. A second TC is going to be going right in the gold here, I believe, right?
That's a beautiful spot. Has the deer there that are already killed and the berries. It's going to be protecting the gold as well. And without any immediate aggression coming out from Malians, that is not going to go punished anytime soon.
Yeah, this is interesting, actually. Like, he's looking to... I mean, he's going for the full spank me or I win sort of thing here, right? Because by going for the second TC next to these resources, what he's essentially saying to DeMu is, if you don't fight me, I'm going Castle Age, right? Like, if I had a placement at TC like this, I'd scale villages and just go naked castle. Because you've got the food, you've got the gold. Also, the position of the TC blocks any sort of assault into your main economy. This is a really good play by Zerton.
There we go. TC going up. Didn't have quite enough space to put it a little bit further in the back there. So very nice placement. Now DeMu going for the walls, not making the same mistake as last time. This time he is going to be placing them down nice and early. Pre-hitting them a bit as well.
Burn it, burn that edge, burn the edge right now. Get on in there. Wait, he could have just burnt. Okay. Now, I did notice one health bar there that was completely empty, right? I'm pretty sure that was still insta-open.
That is the Bastion in the end, and I think it's actually... It doesn't instant open anymore.
Okay. I had mixed experiences with it, so maybe it's just the clunkiness of my trees, but yes. I know it was meant to have been stopped for the most, mainly because like once you build the piece of wall, the one on the edge disappears, right?
The thing is though, with the changes that the Bastions, you can still delete them, but you don't necessarily need to delete them because they don't cost anything and they get built instantly.
Exactly, yeah. But the interesting part is, like, because you'd only tapped it, it still had a 0 health bar. So I'd be curious on that one. I'm like stress test that one. I'll trust you on this. It's been a bit of a weird experience getting used to the new walls. If you guys have been away from the game, you're just returning after a long time taking a break. Walls are an entirely new thing to learn again. In a refreshing way, actually.
Yeah, a couple new interactions, and yeah, we had a lot of fun so far with these walls and like being able to wall to opponents' walls and all that good stuff right now. Walling in between berry bushes as well. It's definitely exciting having like suddenly this completely new mechanic and just being able to explore and experiment around with it. Scout from Zerton does get sniped out. Doesn't have any stables right now, just the military schools to passively get some units out. Get some Spahi, get some spearmen, get some archers as well.
It's such a nice unit to just passively build because they are incredibly valuable raiders, even if you don't scale into them long term. And they also still force your opponent to react as if you are going to scale into them. So quite annoying. If there's one Civ that's kind of chill with that idea, though, it's usually the Malians just because of how bloody good the Donzos are.
Indeed, Donzo able to immediately snipe one of these Pahis out in the... and yeah, just very strong. And we see additional production buildings now coming in for DeMu. The cow boom has been pretty much complete at this point in time. Looks like DeMu is still investing a bit more into Feudal Age. It's always tough to know how much your opponent is investing if they're playing as the Ottomans here. because they're always getting these units passively from the military school, so you never know, okay, is it just active production or is it just completely passive here? In this case, it's completely passive, I want to say, but it looks like Zerton just dropped down some additional archery ranges to get some archers out.
Yeah, I think it's also if I had to name a civ that's exploitative of prolonging feudal, it's Malians, right? Because some we highlighted in the pregame. This is a civ that almost always just going to go into the game, Donzo, Javelin. And the cool thing about that comp is when you reach Castle Age, what do you usually still want to build? Donzo, Javelin. So it's like, there's a few examples of civs that have this, right? Where it's like, it's why French like to scale knights, because they arrive in Castle Age like, great, I'll just upgrade these bad boys. It has that similar level of flavor. So I think that's what DeMu's skirting towards here, is the idea that if this turns into a trade, great, I'll still be fine a few minutes from now. If he hasn't now built enough units to defend, he's going to flatline.
I'm at Imperial Armory, going up now. That second TC has been scouted out now, where it's exactly positioned. But yeah, this age up is not going to be denied. Zerton, not sure if he's got the vizier point for the immediate imams. Don't really need that though, since DeMu is still far away from the castle age. Question's gonna be though, Zerton's gonna need some unit to be able to deal with this javelin and Stonzo combination. Yeah. It's gonna most likely be some men-at-arms, but I don't think he has any barracks right now up.
No, and obviously you can't go into knights because like there's not even raid opportunity when the walls have gone up from DeMu like this, so you are quite handcuffed. You know, one upside at least for Zerton is looking at the queue timing on these units. It might be that DeMu is a little bit short when he cancels all of his units for his tech up, so might give you a little bit of an edge, even though the racks aren't there now, to at least exploit initial men-at-arms. We'll see though. Tech up completes. DeMu really should instantly be canceling those jabs, right? Like additional jabs here. I'm not sure that's really the unit you want. If you're looking to be defensive, having more Donzos pushing is usually a bit better, but he seems content to allow them to come out and just naturally reach what he needs for the Fulani.
Then we're trying to push onto Woodline. Scout goes down immediately. This is going to deny a lot of line of sight. Now Grand Fulani Corral is coming in, and DeMu, he's going to be not too far behind now with this Castle Age, and once he hits the next age, he's going to immediately be able to key up all of his veterancy upgrades, and his standing army right now, it's a lot of army value.
Yeah, and the interesting part is actually look at his priority coming in on the undermesh as well as the range damage increase. Meanwhile, on the other side, Zerton only ever got the range damage increase, didn't prior the undermesh, going into the archer upgrade, right? So it seems small, but that type of tech advantage when both of you are leaning into heavy range comps is a big edge, especially considering the Malians inherently have the better unit, aka the Javelins.
Exactly. Now the first Mangonel, halfway complete, soon is going to be popping out. And as the Malians, you definitely have to respect the siege that the Ottomans are getting out for free. Especially with this infantry-only composition that DeMu has going for himself right now.
Yeah, and the problem with DeMu and what he's done here is he's just fully retracted to try and get his next transition, but you've just given map control to Castle's Ottomans. We know what that means. You can already see the two imams. He pumped out the points, he's on his way out to those relics. This is the type of danger point I always worry about in this matchup specifically, because Malians delay their push, right? They try to zerg a bit with this comp of Donzo jabs. Ottomans are great at taking advantage of that because they basically yoink all these critical ingredients, and then they look to cook up an Imperial Age timing that usually you're not ready to zerg on.
Scout gets taken out. Looks like DeMu is pushing further forward, wants to get into the base of Zerton once again, but the Mangonel should be right about coming out now.
Yeah, in the meantime, Sipahi just trying to wrap into the eco, see if they can find one or two stragglers left unguarded. They're even going to drag a lot of units after them here, so this is really good, kind of like crippling that critical mass timing for DeMu as the push comes in on the secondary TC. Forces the villagers away, one or two are going to go down here. And good God, I absolutely hate that seek shelter button for this very reason. There's just not enough room in there. That could be additional villagers. Nami, a little bit hesitant to respond yet. Zerton only with 4 men-at-arms to his name. He hasn't reached that critical mass.
Mangonel is out now. Looks like DeMu really wants to get that second TC down. Focusing all of his stunts onto that, but now the Mangonel is going to get some great shots in that, and the archers doing a great amount of damage here to the Donzos. Imam gets sniped out though, but the relic is now very, very close here for Zerton, and he's going to be able to survive. Does lose a lot of villagers though, behind all of that, and some idle time costs as well.
Yeah, but he can make up for it for what's coming here, right? Like, it's It's the fact that if you look on the right of this fight, there's a relic now dragged in there. So realistically, like all the relics on this map are about to be in Zerton's corner. And soon they're going to be in his buildings. That's a huge inflation of gold, one that's easily going to cover the cost of 8 villages through this game so far.
Indeed. Getting all of that in. Now DeMu, he's getting his Moscow. He's not going to be getting a lot of relics here at this point in time. At maximum, probably 1.
If he's lucky. He has to hold his center area is a problem. And he hasn't counted the men-at-arms yet. He's building Musafadi now, but you're at 3 of them. You need probably another minute and a half. So, yeah, if Zerton threads the needle here, he'll move out and yoink that relic and be back at base before you're in position.
And Musafadi production now starting. Now, DeMu, he does have a lot of food still in the bank. Not a lot of gold, though, to be able to keep up with that. That's the main weakness of his economy right now. Does have triple pit mines, though.
He has double, right?
Must be triple. Yeah, it's triple pit mines.
Yeah, you're right. He's got the one that's starting the base. But they're baby pit mines as well, which is kind of frustrating, right? So not getting extra inflation. Mango is going to be exposed. The Donzo will look for the trade out. Good split coming from the jabs. That's going to start to force a retreat a little bit. Men-at-arms count still only at 9, and Musafadi now starting to show up in stealth mode. That's going to be the ambush onto Zerton. Zerton, who wasn't yet able to collect this relic, has got a third one on the way home. So even with that one off the equation, this should be a 4-1 split relic.
Yeah, Imam tried to go for it, is getting taken down. DeMu now with his monk is going to be able to take that relic. And now, Mangonel. Another Mangonel is out. Another one is in queue with that MIA. Zerton should be in a position to hold. Village is getting sniped once again, trying to build that outpost. Outpost goes up.
2 go down. So now 10 villages killed total in this game so far. Zerton still ahead on eco though, right? 69 versus the 54. Passive income does have to come in the equation for the Malians. But when you add in the passive production for the Ottomans, the relics now being hoovered up, does start to create and paint a much more even picture here.
It feels like Zerton, he definitely needs a Springleton placement on that outpost. Just the Archer Fire, it's never going to be enough in order to really deal with these Javelin throwers here. Excellent micro also coming out from Zerton, from DeMu, making sure that he's not going to get any of these really large hits in with the DeMu, and the TC is going to go take him down.
Well, that was too late. He tried for the repair with the crew out the outpost, but far too late there. So loses the TC. Now any villager losses are going to feel kind of permanent here, right? And considering he already just lost another 4, things start to swing here. The value of that Fulani is definitely going to be more than 10 villages. So critical that Zerton finds a way out of this bind fast. Hope that that passive production is kicking in. How many military schools do we have?
Got at least 2. 3 military schools are out.
So no
I feel like it's going to be enough. Yeah, only 3 military schools now. The Javelin throwers, there's just so many of them. Sapahi go out on the field, but with the mass that's out there, they're pretty much getting one-shot here by the Javelins.
Yeah, no, this Mango, I mean, it's kind of do or die. Good initial wallop. This is really what he needs right now, because if you use that Mango, you have no leg to stand on in this engagement. The critical, he uses those little choke points in his own base to prolong the life of that siege.
Janissaries now coming out here. A little bit of
desperation.
Yeah, desperate attempt here in order to get rid of the army from DeMu, but the issue behind this is, with the Malians, the army flow never truly stops. They keep on coming and coming and coming, and we can see that there's a lot of Musafadi warriors right now on their way over to the base of Zerton, and now the Janissaries out. They're doing a good amount of damage, even against the Javelin throwers, but at the same time, they also take a lot of damage, and they're already all cleaned up.
They're pretty much already gone, right? And the thing to keep in mind about that is even if Zerton held in this position, that is a point that he's permanently invested. He can't get that back. That's gone. That matters in the long game. All of a sudden, Ottoman's kind of late game gets crippled a bit because of it. Right now, his mid game is what I'm worried about, though. Look at the eco count. Sure, he picked up 3 relics. He's holding to a 4th, waiting to bank it. But on the other side, DeMu's now picking up the sacred sites. He's got that passive income from the gold sources and the Fulani for the food. There's no doubting that the Malian king is ahead here. Not just militarily, but economically as well.
Exactly. Now the 4th military school is coming up. There's still no response to the siege on the side from DeMu. We're now up to 2 Mangonels at the same time. Once again, Zerton, he expanded out onto the forward resources, onto the stone. Looks like DeMu this time, though, isn't going to be aggressing onto that.
It
looks like there's a sofa switch coming in.
I'm not
getting
surprised.
the imported armors now.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense against this comp, right? Like, you've baited Zerton hard in. He even invested the Janissary point, which means the initial surfers are going to wallop hard, because even if you try to now counter Janny, you haven't got that insta-spawn of 8, which can kind of wipe that first wave. Good read by DeMu here. Starting to dive in, and those farms only just got placed. Honestly, like, you've been here, I'm sure, enough in the past, Crackedy. That's the worst feeling, when you expose how bad your food income is and then immediately get idled on it.
Yeah, exactly. And now in this position, certainly he went for that second TC, invested into a lot of additional villagers, but now he's actually behind in the villager count. 27 villagers got taken down this game by DeMu, and right now, looking at the army value, it's almost 8,000 to 3,000.
Yeah, not good numbers here, but Ottomans get free unit. Yeah, it doesn't really matter here, folks. Oh, this is, the way I always describe the Malians, I think they are the most comparative to Zerg from, like, old school Zerg from StarCraft, right? Like, they are all about this unlimited push that you were highlighting earlier. You can see on the map, the amount of dots coming across here, you're up against a swarm, and, the only way you survive this is with the quality unit. When half of your army is the Ottomans or archers, I don't think you're ticking that box.
And right now, certainly he can't really push out with his siege. He needs the choke points against this level of army mass. Oh, he has to retreat. He has to get into the choke point, but is it going to be in time?
I mean, that
doesn't feel like it. Three mangonels.
Few sofas. If they get in, that's going to be it. The mangoes do get behind the line, holding the choke here. But I'm a bit worried about the swarm from the north. That's going to be a pinch. Able to just shift to the back line here. And sure, the mango's got some decent hits, but DeMu on point with the micro, minimizes the losses, and he's finally reached the siege.
And with those siege units going down, GG is going to be called in just a little bit here, as now DeMu is flooding the base of Zerton here. And with that, very likely, there we go. The set, once again, is tied up 2-2 now.
Well, I hope you either received one of those subs that was dropped in the chat, or you're ready to sub yourself, folks, because you're definitely getting your value on this Sunday evening. We are going deeper and deeper in this series. We even it up again, a best of 7 that still has 3 games potentially ahead of us. And what a way this is coming out as well. Like, the back and forth aggression, you're really seeing this kind of this interesting timing differentiation, right? Where it's almost if we're within 25 minutes, DeMu is highly favored. But if it reaches that later phase of the game, Zerton is most comfortable. And I think the difference here is we talked about how Zerton's improved as a player on trying to end the game when he has a lead early on. But DeMu is the type of player that makes you uncomfortable for those 20 minutes, right? So I think, looking forward, I'm trying to think like what we've got next on the board in terms of draft options here. Iobids got banned on both sides. I think that's a really smart identification by Zerton, because I think Iobids plays more favorably for DeMu here simply because of their aggressive peeking. But an Abbasid Mirror might be what Zerton needs to get a third game on the board for himself.
Yeah, indeed. We've seen those Abbasid coming up from Zerton being very, very strong. And by the way, guys, we reached that big unofficial sub goal. We switched around the cameras here, so now you got me on the right side, KP on the left side. So, yeah, the community, they ask and they shall receive, and in return they support. And we got our EGC TV community support goal there in the bottom right hand side. If you too want to help support EGC TV and all the tournaments that they bring you.
Now, hear me out. Another level 10 sub train if you want us to swap again. Now, you'd think that wouldn't work, but there are going to be some people that know how much that would get on the nerves of the people that subbed to get us in the right position. So let's see what happens.
That's right. You can annoy a lot of people if you give enough subs for that level 10 sub train. That's always compelling. Annoying people is probably one of the biggest motivator in the world.
You're like, you sold me. Deal. Just all of a sudden 100 subs come in. No, great support for you guys, though. You've been absolutely tremendous. And love to see all the people turning up to just the qualifier. Don't forget, this is just the qualifier for the main event, where you're going to see all the big names that you're familiar with for the final event of the year. So I expect you all to be tuning in every single weekend throughout the beginning and mid of December. Do not miss it.
Exactly. This is only the beginning. The qualifiers, we're still competing on who will make it into those EGC finals. And Varrickson coming in with the 50 gifted subs. It looks like soon we might have to switch around again here.
Which level is that? Because I was surprised we cracked level 10 before, and I was surprised. So, I mean, if we hit 10 again, we're going back. Oh, dude, I'm being real now, Percy. I do want a race. I'm earning my keep here, baby. Whoop whoop. Oh, dude, did I just put like a stretch goal of Prince Uwu in? I wonder if anyone in chat knows what that was. No, we're not doing that. That was cursed. You didn't see, right, Crackedy?
I did not.
See? No, good. Good.
All good.
Don't check my Twitter. All right.
All right.
Like, what was that? Not a subtrain then? Because I don't see a subtrain.
It doesn't show up right now. Maybe there's a cooldown.
Is there a cooldown? Did I just bait Warwickson? Oh, I'm sorry, Warwickson.
Oof. We might have to change positions either way then.
I feel like we've done him dirty. If level 10 came from like 60, we've got to be close to a theoretical level 10. I think we might have to give him the swap back.
Yeah.
If there's like 10 more subs.
I agree.
Yeah, if there's like 10 more subs, like doing the math on what it was last time, because I think it was 65 tripped a level 10 sub train.
Yeah, so 10 more subs and we'll have to switch sides again.
Yeah, we'll have no other choice. This is musical chairs with the casters, really, isn't it? But anyway, we'll see if you're able to hit that marker, and we'll fix that in between games, if so. But now it is time to hop into game number 5. We are going deep into the night here. DeMu versus Zerton, an Abbasid mirror, the most pure of ways of showing who is the G, and we do it on Hill and Dale.
Hill and Dale, one of our OG maps in an Abbasid mirror, and we got Zerton playing in the color blue on the opposite side, DeMu playing in the color red, and we've seen a couple of times in Abbasid mirrors these like different kind of approaches to the boom. We see trade booms, we see TC booms. Both of these definitely a possibility here on a map like Hill and Dale.
Mm-hmm.
It always depends on the market position.
Yes, and if we check that, I think typically I've seen it spawn maybe a bit more towards the center more recently, so it's a bit more exposed. This is always interesting to me though, because the Abbasid in a mirror have this very intriguing triangle. You might know what I'm talking about, where certain wings counter other wings in a quite nicely balanced way. So, like typically, if your opponent goes eco wing, it's usually a good idea to go, I say, trade wing. If your opponent goes trade wing, military wing is phenomenal. If your opponent goes military wing, of course you go eco wing. You may notice culture wing got left out because we don't care. But we've seen plenty of games, especially on Lipony, where it's been interesting to watch these military wing openings fall flat, because you'd think eco wing gets countered, but you don't. You just condense double TC and then eventually play for your third.
Exactly. And with that bonus economy, you can spam out a lot of units there very quickly. Excuse me there for a second.
Are you right there? Is your breath taken away by all the subs?
Yeah, it's the cough is still there a little bit, and
no, it's not. You're tearing up. That's what it is. It's all the community support. Love to you all. We couldn't do it without you. Oh, we can do it without these Goliaths of the game. And this is great, by the way. This is the way I want it to be for the EGC finals, for the final tournament of the year. I want it to be this close. I'm not going to lie. I'll be honest. I'll come out. I'll be the person to admit it. I actually thought this was going to be heavily favored towards DeMu. I thought this was going to be maybe like Zerton gets a game, maybe 2, but that was going to be it. But this is back and forth, man. This is like the boxing fight you know is going to go every round, and it's going to come down to how many hits to the head happened, not who got the knockout.
I agree. Zerton has been definitely giving us a performance here so far. Definitely bringing his A game. Looking very strong. And as the Abbasid, I mean, Abbasid, probably one of the main civs here from Zerton, and we can see him going for that economic wing. DeMu on the other side, though, choosing that military wing, and we talked about it, the economic wing doesn't have a ton of counterplay against it. With that very condensed economy, it's very difficult to really pressure it, and Abbasid, they are very, very comfortable with playing it from a defensive point.
Yeah, especially on a map like this, maybe DeMu's one redeeming quality would be that the stone spawns on the forward, but my issue is, like, how do you get in position quick enough to stop him blocking that, right? Like, worst case scenario, you force Zerton to build an outpost on the stone. That's kind of the entirety of what you'll achieve with the military wing. And it might sound like a lot in a mirror, but considering that you gave up the ability to scale TCs optimally compared to Zerton, not good enough.
Yeah, DeMu now has scouted that Zerton is going to go for that economic wing. At the same time, DeMu, he's already out on stone as well. So he's also thinking about his second TC. It's all about getting a little bit of value here from those early units with the military wing, but I feel like Zerton already being out on stone, the timing window is going to be very narrow, considering that Zerton only needs 268 stone, I believe, to build that second TC with that Fertile Crescent upgrade.
And you just don't care because like the reality is like this is what makes the Abbasis such a strong civ. I remember okay, like time to rant. I remember the days when people were like Abbas is absolutely underwhelming. Now they weren't the strongest, but one thing I did notice in those days is there was still a big argument on whether you go sheep or go berries. Most of the top tier players now go berries for a very good reason. I think you know where I'm going with this, Crackedy. You get the berries first before the aggression arrives, and then you just sit on sheep. And that's one of the big reasons why the eco wing beats the military wing. Because by the time DeMu gets his units in place, Zerton has ate all these berries, he's got all these sheep, which, by the way, you keep your scout out for longer because you don't need to return sheep early. And it means you always have enough to sustain yourself, even when you go 2-3 TC, because, of course, you get into fresh foodstuffs.
Exactly. And now the military units from DeMu are going to make their way over. Fertile Crescent now coming in. Wood pretty much already collected, enough for that secondary TC. Just a little bit of stone remaining. And there we go. Drop-off comes in. 268 stone exactly. Actually, it's 263. I miscounted, but still, very, very nice stone count there from Zerton. Gets that second TC up in a nice defensive position.
Don't defend it, mate. You're fired. I can't take this bad math. That's my job. Bad math is what I do. But no, yeah, it's exactly what we talked about. Like the super defensive TC, he could have gambled on the deer, but then it's like you might get sniped. This is like you can't assault this at all, right? And the frustrating part is now like if you're DeMu, you kind of feel like you're somewhat on the clock. Like you can play your own TC, but what you're on clock for is you're like, okay, my spearmen and archers actually have to do something here. Otherwise, it's kind of a wasted tech up.
Yeah, exactly. And he's gonna feel pressured into at least like getting something done out on the field with his military units, because he does have the advantage there with that military wing. He's gonna have the more HP infantry. Looks like he's actually going for a third TC now with the military wing.
Where's Zerton Scout? This is really important. He needs to see it straight away because, okay, this is where you need to be running straight back across your opponent's base and sniff it out, because the moment you see he's going free TC, you just mirror it, right? And then you go one more because the discount adds up. So DeMu is just going to be circling like a shark. The only thing you can try to do is deny any good placements, but the problem is now that you've got this TC on the wood line, the typical play is exactly what's happening here. You build archery range, you build 4 archers, you clear your high ground. All of a sudden, DeMu, by the time he's ready for his third TC, might find himself rather struggling to get a good position.
Yeah, exactly. And now, Zerton, he's gonna scout that out. He sees the second TC, he sees 9 villagers on stone. And now he knows exactly what the game plan is here for DeMu.
Now, he's not moving onto the stone right now because he hasn't got wheelbarrow, right? So, like, if you walked over there and got idled back, it's suboptimal. But he'll shift there very fast. It's just, he's fine being on the wood for the time being because you need it for a TC. And also, you need to get those initial archers out. But once that counter is free, expect DeMu to run away.
Now archers firing against each other. Third archer soon coming out from Zerton, and now we see 12 villagers going out to stone here. That many, he's gonna be having that stone that he needs for his second TC in no time.
Yeah, now the archers, like, this is the thing. Once they get kind of half HP, I'd be surprised if DeMu tries to trade any longer. I think he's maybe hoping to keep him off the goal because, like, one variant option here is, like, you can go 3 TC or 4. Some players in this matchup on their Eco Wing decide to go 3 TC and then cast Lage. It's a really strong play because you know your opponent, like, you're ahead of him by so much eco in terms of your trade timing, right? And sure, you had to build these initial archers, but it's still worth it because now if you run across the map, DeMu can't just fast castle. He's going to have to build something to defend with.
Yeah, exactly. Now, third TC is coming out on the gold here for DeMu. I think it's still very likely just going to be that fast castle play, and now second TC is getting dropped on the gold as well here for Zerton. Looks like he's not going for that fourth TC here in this one. Definitely has the option to.
It's the castle build now, so like he's going to pivot. You can tell by the fact he dropped the TC rather on the gold. It's like a dead giveaway, right? We've seen this so many times. It hits so hard, and it's like now the reality is like, what do you do if you're DeMu? probably culture wing. Eco wing could be value for farm transition, but if you have to farm transition, whoops. Meanwhile, Zerton says, okay, now I get military. We both are going to have boot camp, but I also now have these camels that are going to harass you and your tech up. So frustrating, man. And you know, it maybe seems like an oversimplification what we said here, but really, when it comes to Abbasid mirrors, these wing choices are do or die, and they do form that triangle of counters.
And look at that, Zerton getting those walls out. I like that play, because that means as soon as Castle Age is going to come in, and it looks like DeMu's going to be the first one to click up, as he's been on the deer here the entire time. Meanwhile, Zerton, he's got pushed off the deer for a prolonged period of time. Meaning these walls, that DeMu, as soon as he gets up to the Castle Age, he's not going to find immediate value with like a Lancerate or anything like that in certain space.
I hope DeMu's going for relic play straight away here. I think that's what can put you ahead, even though you kind of military winged into eco wing, right? It's like if you just rush relics, Zerton has just... He's gone overly defensive, right? Like he's literally just walling himself in. So you said it's a smart play, but essentially what he said is, I don't want to play the actual game, right? I just want to play city builder. And considering the edge you'll have here, it's probably going to be about a minute and 20 seconds. You can get a lot done if you think about the build time of the mosque and you build up the 4 TC. You pump out the priest, you could actually yoink 4 relics easy peasy here.
I'm not sure about that, because Zerton, if he goes up with the military wing, he's going to get 2 camel riders out immediately.
Agreed, but hear me out. You build a racks.
Is that going to be spearmen or golems then?
I think it's spearmen, right? Because like the cat, otherwise, because the actually you can realistically do either because the camels have no armor, right? So I kind of like that you brought up golem because then it means that the archers, the 3 archers you have, doesn't counter, and also you have that ripple effect of where there's a window where golem just zerg the game, right? Like we always see it. The strongest point in the game for men at arms is the castle age advantage.
Yeah, indeed.
That's a really interesting one because like their brain is kind of spearman, right? On Hill and Dale especially because like we're so used to seeing HRE do it for relic grabbing, and well, it's going to be eco wing. Yeah, so like you know, someone we talked about the option eco wing versus culture wing. I don't know where you sit on this, but I feel like when you're playing on a map like Hill and Dale, eco wing kind of wins out because you know you're highly likely to need to go into farms eventually.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of the economic wing there. Not just because you get the farms for cheaper, but you're also boosting them up by an additional 15%. And yeah, just getting it at that really early timing feels very, very strong. And you can also spam houses for faster Golden Age as well. Villager gets found out, and he's getting tag teamed now with that wolf as well.
Whoops. I don't think DeMu's... There we go. He's finally going to notice. You maybe live. What was that, like 8 HP, maybe 9? I can see him reaching the TC just before dying. So it's going to be the Golems. There you go. Glad you highlighted that. Like, it's such a big window, actually. It's kind of crazy. And remember, because he went for military wing already, he's already got the boot camp queuing up. He could have had it even earlier, right? Like, if he felt like there was some prolonged feudal play. So Zerton, going to be notably behind in that regard, might mean that he doesn't want to come out of his base, even once he has the camels.
And now it's going to be a combination of golems and crossbowmen, typical Abbasid composition, and DeMu also starting to wall now on his side. He's also expanding further out onto the deer. Fertile Crescent is coming out, so he's making full use of the natural resource here for the time being.
Yeah, honestly, like thinking back to this game at the start, it's like I was calling like Zerton to have a big advantage, and I think the really big difference here was that third TC dropped on the gold did seem overkill considering where his food was at. And it's crazy as well because he had the archers in position that he could have played it onto the deer. But I think because his wood line was that close, he didn't want to basically play Chinese TC configuration, right? Because then your resources, like you get a quicker burst in the castle age, but you have a shorter runway once you're there. Because your villagers, new ones spawning at least, idle for quite a while, running to different resources. So yeah, kind of a tough one here for Zerton. He's going to queue up a lot of units, though. We have to remember, like, there are still some edges that he's gotten in terms of savings on TCs, but we're far past that phase now. And a Mangonel being built by DeMu.
Yeah, immediate Mangonel coming in. No monk yet, no religious unit yet from either side here at this point in time. DeMu looks to be content with just trying to siege onto Zerton here, but Zerton's also got a lot of units in queue, and Villager going down there to the wolf.
Whoops.
By the infantry.
Oh man, I think he's distracted by the front side. Like, he has to know there's more behind this, not just Gulam's gonna have to deal with. Now, what Zerton did do right is he queued up a lot of crossbows. You always have to realize when you're second up into Castle Age, you need to accept crossbows as your reality. The problem is, DeMu's just been so smart with optimizing his economy for this Mangonel. Right now, there's no answer to it.
Right, as you say that, Springle is coming out. Zerton also going into double Monk play now. Wants to take all the relics behind all of that, but look at the walls coming out. DeMu, he's trying to wall Zerton in.
This is interesting, actually, because DeMu, we talked about the fact he would have had map advantage to try and pick up some relics, but because of those camels, he would have been forced to split his forces, right? Instead, DeMu, remember what we said in the series, he's always looking for those fast games. He looks good in fast games. Slower games have been favoring Zerton, so this is, I don't want to say an all-in timing, but it's leaning towards that idea from DeMu.
Yeah, definitely at the moment. And I mean, the Springle is out. No Springle yet from DeMu. There's a Ram out. Camel Rider getting picked off.
She does one to work with, but she's not finding any entry. And it's still kind of dicey to defend here, right? That Mango can be a little bit awkward. I'll have to see if DeMu wants to add in the Springles. Like, if he gets hard on the gold in the next 30 seconds, you could just double Springle play here and catch Zerton off guard. You need to be quick.
Mangonel gets a shot off on the Gulams. Springle's not in position yet. There it is. Supposed to do a good amount of damage here to the Gulams now.
Can he bait forward of it? Nah, Zerton's going to be on point with the micro. A crossbow count is similar. Camel's going to raid around the back, though. The Springle did get a shot out, so Mangonel looks like it's going to go down. Good moves there by Zerton, but DeMu, a little bit better. Keeps it up, but barely. And the Springle, what are you doing out here? Get back in there.
Springle being protected with the body block, but now the numbers for Zerton, they're not there.
Crackedy, he never killed the ram. The ram is still going throughout.
The reinforcements. The reinforcements are stuck on the ram there, actually.
Oh my god, the A-clicks! Half of them were crossbows as well, which means that was not an efficient way of clearing a ram. I wondered what was going on here, right? Because that fight looked like a definitive win for DeMu, even though the military was neck and neck. But now, look at the difference maker. Another Mango coming into play, right? The repaired Mango that was injured but never killed. And a new Springle needing to be built by Zerton, and DeMu heavy into that gold. We could be looking at a massive 1 or 2 Springles behind this alongside the ram, at which point Zerton doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, Zerton, he is still securing some of the resources out on the map with his own walls now. He's gotten 2 relics in behind all of that, so is getting some value. Food income still looking good. Farm transition also coming in. Crossbowman having a little bit of a party there.
Oh, no, what's that villager doing there? Bruh.
Just hanging around.
Why are you not working? He's like, oh yeah, I'm in robe, so yeah, I'm just here. But they're still not moving. Like, Zerton has had 5 idle villagers for a long time.
In the fight, it takes a lot of attention away.
What is? Where are the what are the rest of these people doing?
Trying to repair the Springle now, but Springle does survive somehow.
Oh. Yeah, but the Mango on the other side, this is a repair race right now. Like, it's kind of a Pyrrhic victory, right? You got rid of the Mango, but look at the difference in crossbow count in your own base.
That is a lot, and he's massing Gulams right now. That's not going to work against the crossbows.
Oh, man. No, this is just pain. And now, like, the house is being targeted. I mean, the good news, at least for Zerton, is so many of his units are dead. That's not going to be a problem anytime soon. Looks like Zerton did finally hit the all idle villagers and get them moving, but like, it's still a small difference that adds up fast when you're losing fights like this in your own base. DeMu, just great identification with the double ranged upgrade. He can just stand here all day. That's another small edge he has, by the way, because Zerton only ever got the ranged 1 armor. He didn't get the 2.
Villagers now moving inside that TC. Definitely needs the added DPS of that TC fire.
That's cursed. That is so cursed. Like, there's so many villagers seeking shelter. Decent chunk are going to go down. And look at the difference now escalating. 8 villager advantage. Now, Zerton does have relics in the bank, right? 2 more on the way home. But damage is definitely scaling here. And the Gulam count, the second wave from DeMu is on the way.
Ram is getting taken down, though, by the Springle behind all of that. So that goes down, and Zerton for now is going to be able to hold. But behind that, DeMu, look at his food income right now. Over 2,000 food per minute.
Yep.
And the farm transition is coming in now as well.
And look how much prettier his is, right? Like, oh, wow, DeMu, it's so beautiful. Wow. Now look at Zerton's.
Oh, he's shifting the angle as well. DeMu is now looking towards the left side of certain space, and there's only a palisade wall holding that.
I may get a little bit personal for middle-aged men, but the comparison of those two farm areas is like beautiful, luscious locks down to your shoulders versus I seem to have my hairline retreating quicker than the French in World War II, right? Like, it's inefficient for Zerton the way he set up his farms. It also means he has to spend more wood on mills as the game goes on, and now he's going to lose more villages as the wall has been breached. He'll run for the high hill, but the problem that I do see is that might be the last bit of gold he ever gets to touch in this game.
There's 1,000 gold in the bank, but yeah, it's definitely awkward right now. Outpost on the front line. It's getting taken down now by the Mangonel. Yeah, getting cut off right now. Getting condensed inside of his little Acropolis there. And DeMu, he's not stopping. He wants to go further in.
I don't blame him, right? Like, this is kind of the trap of Hill and Dale. Where, you know, it's that false sense of security of being on the high ground. It's like, yeah, if you're on the high ground, but it's kind of like a prolonged siege, right? At which point do we run out of food and start eating each other? I might explain why the villages are so cheap for the Abbasids.
DeMu is finding that Zerton has collected most of the relics now, but this is a low point right now for Zerton in the game. 700 food per minute. Mango's taking some good shots there. Has to be careful though. Villagers on the repair job. Or not. Running past it.
What, they try and repair the enemy faces with like hammers? I don't think they even know where they're going anymore. It's getting messy, right? Like, I've noticed a few weird behaviors out of Zerton's villages, and the only upside of being pushed on the high ground here is at least you can keep a closer eye on your entire economy. What are you doing? Get moving, all right? There's no time for a break. We need that 4th relic, and we need it yesterday.
Couple of villagers they've been on the move there for a while from the looks of it. Finding his gold now, and DeMu, he's got this nice little proxy going now in the middle. Has to keep there, lots of production buildings, siege workshops as well. It's going to be really difficult for Zerton to get DeMu out of that middle, and he needs to at some point, because that's where all the resources are going to be.
It's kind of crazy the way that like DeMu has a better farm line, more farms, yet he's also been the one exploiting mid-map resources. Like, sure, we can talk about the gold and the way Zerton played for that. But, like, when you talk about berries, deer, whatever it is, it feels like DeMu's kind of had that 1-2 tap, and it's why he's able to do this. Imperial Age now on the way. Usually a death sentence in an Abbasid mirror, especially when you look at the size of Zerton's economy. That gap, 3,000 resources. It's not just getting the 3,000, it's then the extra 2 minutes it takes to get there.
Yeah, and here, the Ghoulems, they're just ignoring the outpost there. Still doing a ton of damage to those villagers, and now Zerton, he's going to have to pull them away. Lots of villagers went down this game already, and the idle time is probably the biggest issue here for him. Now the outpost has been reinforced, so it's not going to go down anytime soon, but in time, even the reinforcements are going to fall to the Ghoulems.
Now, there's an interesting thought here. Like, why does DeMu want to go Culture Wing? Well, one, he's such a cultured, wonderful lad. But more importantly than that, it's actually a very big saving at this phase in the game. Usually you pay so much. You pay, what was it, 1,000 resources for your vet upgrade, or your elite upgrades, rather. It's okay. Preservation and Knowledge, good bang for buck. Allows you to kind of like streamline into a bigger army while upgrading them more efficiently.
Keep coming out from DeMu, but the military units from Zerton are in position.
I like how he just leaves it there. He's like, no, I think I'll be back soon, but keep following me. Follow me to the afterlife, because guess what's coming from behind? Crossbows looking for the backstab. Villagers will now return to their duty, and Zerton has to admit there's no way he can stop this keep.
Yeah, that's a ton of villagers trying to build that keep, and it's going to be at the same time when that keep finishes that Culture Wing is going to be coming in. And with that, in Imperial Age, with Zerton nowhere near it currently, with no gold in the bank and no access to gold at the same time, he's going to walk out now. He's going to find out that DeMu has completely walled him off.
And you know what? I wouldn't blame him for just GG's. Like, the crazy part is look at his stone. He got enough for a keep drop, but it's going to take him so long to get through there. You might just see a pivot across by the army to intercept.
Is DeMu getting a keep there? I see villagers from DeMu on the right-hand side building something there. It's going to be an outpost. Okay, yeah, Zerton is just trying to burn through the wall.
It's just revealing you though, right? Like, sure, you're going to get through that many villages, but by the time you do, a few premium units come over here, might just block the keep outright. And yeah, he's deleting part of the wall, but that's not going to be enough of the wall deleted to drop the keep in a more safe position. You're going to have to come in range of this outpost.
And looks like the sprinkler emplacement is going to be coming in immediately. Villagers should be able to take the outpost down in time, though. So, DeMu, he has the information. Yeah, Culverin helps a lot here against these Castle Age units.
We're a little bit ambitious though. Wait, Culver it. Colonel Culverin, calm down. We'll move towards the keep. Nice repair. Come on, one villager. Do it, DeMu with the one tap. There is one villager there, so realistically he could keep that alive. Looks like Golems have arrived north side, but keep goes up. So Zerton maybe giving himself a lifeline here.
He's got 4,000 food in the bank. It's just the gold that he's lacking right now. Reinforcement coming out on those outposts. As soon as the reinforcement comes in, it's going to be tough for the villagers to take the outpost down and be able to gather the gold.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, it's the Sprimmels not going to be sniping you, so realistically, like, sure,
Ooh, the
you got
timing.
this keep, but... Oh, no. No, just get out of here. This is not worth it.
And another Sprimmel placement.
The worst part about this, he just clicked the tech up. So he's going to reach Imperial Age, but he's going to have no gold to play with.
Yeah, and he has to retreat there. What's he going to do? He's got 4 trebuchets out right now, trying to take down the keep in the middle, trying to access gold somehow. It's so difficult for him in this position. He has no map control.
He has no map control. He has no gold, right? He can't even consider trade because look where the trade posts are. Like, this is where the tension is now starting to draw, so that would be a risk. You'd also need gold to set up trade in the first place. You didn't go trade wings, so that's also just a terrible option. Just really trying to emphasize there, Ron, you do not trade here. Like, it's you either get control of that gold vein and start to kind of claw back into the game from there, or it's GG.
It looks like Zerton somehow managed to sneak in a couple of villagers at the left-hand side gold again. Oh, so he is getting gold there. Yeah. But look at that. DeMu just finished up the first large gold vein, and there's going to be 50 villagers just moving over.
Shiv's out, boys. Let's push him out fast. I mean, tech up on the way, but farm's also on the front side. That's going to starve Zerton a little bit. He's got plenty of food in reserve, but the gold is still going to be the big question mark here. And yes, those are elite Golem, which mean that they are going to eviscerate the front line of Zerton. Even if he does make it to Imperial Age, there's no army left to upgrade.
Yeah, now Culverin takes down one of the mangonels, and villagers just completely took down the entire gold income from Zerton. No gold to be gained at all anywhere right now. He's reaching Culture Age without any way of getting these elite upgrades.
Man, this was just such a great opening from DeMu. Taking a matchup where historically the Eco Wing just smashes the melee, but understanding that the way Zerton was playing was way too condensed and not greedy enough of Eco Wing play, gives him a huge edge and propels him this far ahead 25 minutes in. That's going to be another one on the board for Benny himself. 3-2, and he finds himself on match point.
Looking good. He definitely needs that. And yeah, now it's going to be match point for DeMu in our best of 7. Can Zerton once again go for the equalizer here? Make it a 3-3 for final match point for both players? Or is DeMu going to be able to close it out with a 4-2?
I mean, it's going to be a tough one. It's definitely going to be an uphill battle. But, you know, the thing that we're looking towards here is you need those prolonged engagements, those prolonged games, rather, because I think that's where Zerton is starting to thrive. He needs to, I want to say, play incredibly clean and almost perfect in his first 15 minutes, because I don't know if it's, I want to say DeMu is very clean at his early mid-game execution. It's either that there's cracks in that late game or it's just the way that Zerton plays. But I think something that really plays to Zerton's edge here is that wildness of new civs in particular. So I'm curious to see what we're going to be getting in game number 6. If we get something a little bit like weird, let's say like you whip out Byzantines. I mean, most people just kind of avoiding them in competitive right now, but let's say you go Byzantines. And Zerton plays like Hippodrome into aggression, could lead to a game 7 pretty easily. Let's see what we got there.
Yeah, okay, okay, yeah, it's old civilizations only here, and we're gonna be seeing the Mongols playing up against the Ottomans in this one.
That is surprising. How do you feel about this matchup? Because I've got this bad feeling that, like, on Rocky River, Ottomans fare pretty well.
I think personally on Rocky River, Mongols are probably better.
Yeah? What, the outpost play on the lake sort of thing?
I think in general, just being able to scale a little bit better. You go for that early Uvu, then you get the double production on the spearmen. And there's that certain amount of timing that it takes for the Ottomans to be able to get that vizier point in and able to boost those units up. It takes a little bit, and it's going to be interesting to see if the timing adds up for DeMu to be able to invest a lot into those pawns and be able to scale his economy better.
You know what I was thinking is like you actually just like I was thinking it's not the passive units, it's the racks and the spam that we've seen on maps like Kawasan and Golden Heights. Let's see how DeMu wants to approach it. You seem to think that the Zerton on the Mongols going to be favored. I'm a fan of a longer series, but let's actually be a little bit of conflict in the casting booth here. I'll back the Ottomans in this one as we hop into map number 6. It is, of course, the combo meal. Rocky River. Part Rocky Canyon, part Dry River. Bidland's finest creation, or his worst. If you say it's a good map, Crackedy, he took inspiration from me. If you think it's a bad map, it was all Bidland's work. That's how I do this.
Frankenstein's monster out here right now, and I mean, the map is cool. The map is definitely cool. Combining two maps, previous tournament maps they were a little bit similar in their layout, but like just taking all of the features and combining them, having Rocky Canyon with all of these berry bushes in the middle, you take that onto a map that already has a ton of food in the middle with those shoreline fish. It becomes a very, very middle-centered focus map immediately, even more so than Dry River has ever been. We can see now. DeMu, he's got that military school out. Spearman is going to be in queue now.
Yeah, and the insane part for me, by the way, is really the berries. I think this is going to be a great map for Japanese. Right? Because like you can play, like you have multiple reasons to come out the center. Fishing, because you get them cheaper. You have the berries, which will gather faster. I think they're going to be a surprisingly effective pick here. Not sure how much we're going to see of it, because I feel like Japanese are one of those beautiful civs that functions really well on most maps. But there's the racks added in. Yeah, this is what I thought was going to happen. So it's going to be delayed play onto the water, which is something you can get away with because you know the Mongols will not rush water. They have to spend 150 wood on the Uvu, and then they have to spend on the racks as well. So similar investment from both players' openings here.
Yeah, Japanese definitely one of the strongest civilizations on this map. I feel like on hybrid maps especially, Japanese just feel very, very dominating at the moment. And DeMu, he did go for his additional barracks, so he is going to be going all in on that spearman aggression kind of play here for now. Zerton, double producing a spearman and now producing further from that barracks. It's going to slowly but surely mass up his units, and it takes a little bit longer for the military school to produce as many spearmen as the double production with the Uvu does. And as long as the game goes longer and longer, we always have to think about there being a little bit of an additional bonus early on when it comes to the wood for the Mongols, as they don't have to build any houses. And those little bonuses, they kind of can add up. And that's usually why Mongols are one of the better civilizations on these hybrid maps, not having to spend any wood on houses at all. Means that they can invest that wood onto these pawns and get multiple docks out on many locations. Now, the Ottomans also get similar bonuses. Their military buildings and their docks only cost 100 wood. So they save up a lot there as well.
Yeah, I think that the other thing that makes this scary is what you say is really important. I think when you get to like 25, 30 spears, but often these engagements are decided more close to like 15. That's scary because if we're deciding at that point, that means the first Vizier point's coming in. And if that's the Imams, there's a reason why Ottomans are so popular in water hybrid maps, right? It's not just the cheaper racks, the cheaper docks. It's the fact that if you want to turn this into a Spearman mosh pit, I have AoE healing and you have no way of killing it.
Yeah, those Vizier points, you definitely have to either take fights before the Vizier points come in or get the age up in after they do. And it's going to be an interesting timing here. So far, neither of the players went out onto any of these pawns to try and get a dock up. So no greedy play out of either one of them right now. Just trying to respect the other opponent. And looks like Zerton is going to be trying to go for an age up here. Already gathered up a lot of gold here.
This is dangerous. This is like really dangerous because if you think about where his Uvu placement is, like if you don't keep pace with DeMu's spear count, he will just burn down the Uvu and you're 150 wood behind, right? Like, yeah, you have tech advantage, sure, but it can kind of slow down your escalation because usually the power of the Mongols with these openings comes around the double production, right, out of a single building.
And now we see DeMu. He's got 9 spearmen out, more in queue, Zerton. He's got 8 at the moment. Might also be able to just get another double produced batch in very, very soon. For now, with his numbers, is going to be able to deter DeMu from attacking on that Uvu. And the Silver Tree is now getting rushed up with 8 villagers.
Yeah, that's smart by Zerton. The moment you see these spearmen attacking the Uvu, like you understand you're about to get zerged here, right? That you can't match the spearman count because you want that tech. So good read there. I've seen plenty of players do this with like 4 or 5, and they just lose the Uvu and they get the racks forced to pack up. It's a really bad position to be in. But DeMu, look at that. He instantly reads this as like, there's a reason you're not actually clashing with me right now. I know I have the number advantage, but I know the window's very thin. So instead of committing to more spears, he goes for the twin minaret madrasa.
Yeah, no, Zerton going with that silver tree now. On, I think it was Dry River, there is no market. But on Rocky Canyon, there is a market. And the market does get taken over into this game, into this map. So we do have markets here. This can potentially be a trade map for the Mongols. Now silver tree completes.
Did someone try to sass you and say otherwise, Crackedy? Point me at them, I'll hit them with a stick. I think there's enough spears, I can borrow one from them. Now, yes, this is, how to describe this? It's like, I'm pretty sure Biddlin done these, because he done the original ones for EGC, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure he just looked at this and like, man, I like so much about these two maps. It's like, you know when you got like a kid, and you're like, do you want vanilla ice cream? Or do you want raspberry cheesecake? And the kid's like, both. That was Biddlin when making this map. I like all of it, so we'll just slap it all on. It is quite a heavily saturated map, actually, when you think about the resources.
Yeah, there's just so much food in the middle of the map to be gained, and so far still, no dock yet from either player, and that's a wise decision. Matter now coming out. So first Vizier point has been coming in. Probably now is going to be the time that DeMu tries to go for some aggression here. Both players got archer ranges out. Double production, though, for the Mongols means that he's going to be able to scale his archer production a little bit quicker than DeMu is.
Yeah, and I think it's a really smart play by DeMu to not just waste points in the Imam. If you know it's going to turn into an archer fight, Imam's the worst point investment in the entire game. So this is really cool, the strategic layering here. I hate when this turns into a blunder. I've seen it so many times where even the best players, they'll play against Ottomans on these hybrid maps, and they'll fall for the Spearman mosh pit. But Zerton, man, it takes a lot of composure and a lot of kind of like discipline to realize when you're being baited. But this was a great read from the Mongols.
Yeah, now Silvertree is setting up in the corner of the map, and with that, the trade is now going to commence here. Zerton, and slowly but surely, he's going to eke himself out a nice little economy lead that way. Khan, in the meantime, getting a lot of scouting information. DeMu now switched his military production over to the Sipahi with the military schools. Yeah. Still a lot of archers coming out from Zerton, and it's definitely nice as the Mongols to be able to get those archer numbers out. A little clash happening now.
Okay, that was scary. Yeah, the meta's down to half HP. That was a little bit of a blunder. DeMu, I don't think he actually wanted to commit that close. So almost immediately losing the meta. That would have been detrimental considering he did use the Vizier point for that. So we'll back away.
Yeah, very expensive unit. You don't want to lose that. And now
so bad as
on the retreat.
Like, because you lost half the HP pool on the meta, you can't do this clutch thing where you rally form with him in a formation to get the movement speed, and he gets stabbed like 4 times, because you will lose him. So, like, great read by DeMu to just accept these spearmen are going to get slapped in the back, and just reset back home.
Yeah, army count right now, looking good for Zerton. First couple of traders now make their way over. Can we take a look and see just... Oh, look at that trade position right now. He's actually going for the markets from DeMu first. That is going to be unexpected.
That's really cool as well, because like you could see by the positioning of the fight that DeMu is posturing north side as well. So really crafty bugger here. That positioning in general has a similar effect to what you see on like, you know, Prairie, where it's like, oh no, you blocked out one of the trades. Anyway, I'm just going to go to the other side. So cool usage there. Does miss out on a little bit of gold by doing this, but it's safer this way. And if you think about the comp that Zerton's building, he doesn't really care about the gold. So that switchover of where the traders go would only really matter once it's a point where the silver tree is returning food and wood.
Yeah, exactly. And now we do see DeMu sending his military out to that neutral trade post. Not going to be able to find any traders over there.
Dude, just watch the army. And I wish we had like a camera perspective right now where DeMu's like, huh? Did he just not build traders? Is he on the other side of the map? Do I now have to run all the way to the other side of the map? Come on.
Is he pulling mind games on me? Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, well, this used to be like the mind games thing actually sits in your mind because that used to be a really popular strategy, right? Like I remember Recon and Mister loved that strat, the double production of traders, and then you stopped, right? Because your opponent then just has to act as if he needs to shut down trade, and you just go fast castle anyway. But the fact is, they built a crappy feudal army that you now counter. So it's definitely something I imagine that you've had that happen as well more recently, where you have to act as if that build is coming out.
Yeah, mind games can definitely be very, very annoying. Like, even if you scout it, feeding false information onto your opponent can also be very tricky. There's a build right now with the Byzantines where you don't put any villagers on gold. You go heavily into olive oil. Then you just sell all the olive oil, go for Castle Age without even putting a single villager onto gold.
Which, by the way, like I get that olive oil is valuable and they traded a lot, but why do the Mongols not get to sell their stone, but the Byzantines get to sell their olive oil? That is kind of wild, right?
Please don't fix it.
No. I'm not saying fix that. I'm saying we let the Mongols sell their rocks.
Sure. But yeah, Mongols right now, archer count building up very, very strongly right now. There's only 2 Spahi out on the field and 16 spearmen out for DeMu. There's only a single Kashik out right now, so the army from DeMu feels significantly weaker right now than what Zerton has out on the field.
Yeah, like DeMu right now, it's kind of that split identity of what you want to do. The scary part is like, I think you're on the clock to a certain extent, where if you don't start fighting soon, this trade is kicking in, and you're already seeing what you get from that if you're Mongols. It's the the Keshiks. Keshiks that will beat the crap out of Sipahi, so... I hope that DeMu is going to try to force a fight soon. Sitting back doesn't work against Mongol trade, as we've seen so often.
Now, first trader of the game gets found out, gets taken down by DeMu's army here. He's been around there the entire time, yeah. He's trading. Just slow.
But, okay, imagine if Zerton done that on purpose to make him think he needs to just camp here. Dude, the mind games.
But yeah, this definitely does make DeMu feel, oh, okay, there is trade. It's just very, very slowly happening. But this is a false sense of... Yeah, this is a false sense of superiority right now that DeMu has. And it looks like now he just found out, okay, the trader is actually going to the other market. Now he's going to be looking for it. Zerton's army has to move right now. Kashik also gets some value here. 1 villager goes down, but now Zerton's army really has to move, and he must protect those traders there.
He doesn't realize. Like, if you check his vision right now, I'm pretty sure he's as blind as a bat here. Finally gets the notification the traders are being attacked. But that stealth force also just giving a little bit extra smuggle time. And Zerton, look where his army is. It's been sitting back at the TC. It's nowhere near to intercept this.
DeMu's retreating for some reason. He's not going to pressure that trade. Oh, Zerton once again put the rally point for the trade over to the other market.
Back I go. It's annoying because it is actually scaling to his advantage right now. One thing that DeMu has done is quite interesting. He did get that Imam point. Very dangerous to do against this many archers. It's not that difficult for them to just kind of like sneak in, stab you down, get out, especially if the movement speed arrow is utilized. But, well, can't with the card now.
Goes out. Oh, the traders, once again, get found out. Zerton has to react to this. Come on, you can't tell me that he's not gonna...
Like, he's just gonna lose... Oh my god, he's just gonna lose 5 villages here. Chase down. Okay, so it looks like he'll just send the spy off. That's still gonna just pick 2 or 3 of these, and that's also now going to be an outpost going down. He really needs to cancel that Gura. That's another 100 wood just burn or nothing. Trader got killed as well. This is getting bad for Zerton fast. It's 72 versus 53. If this was kind of like a bait and you don't lose anything, trade still trickles through. But now, with losses like that, DeMu is rising.
Yeah, this is very difficult. I mean, we as observers, we know right now that the army composition for Zerton, it used to be a lot better for a long time. But now we're getting into a point in time where DeMu suddenly has more archers, and he has the constant buff there with the matter going for them. See a couple more Kashiks coming out, trying to go for a raid, but it's starting to get really difficult. DeMu is building an army that can just steamroll Zerton now.
Yeah, because if he sees these, like, if you see this here, you probably just start to dive into the base, which I think is exactly what DeMu is doing. It's like, okay, yeah, I might lose a few villages here, I might lose a few units, but now I'm going to start forcing these uncomfortable fights. Zerton, he's missing the calm, which means he's missing the attack speed arrow. Meanwhile, your opponent has that attack speed buffer and just got additional vizier points. So, temporary reset for DeMu, but the other thing that I'm worried about here, you see the issue for Zerton with this fight. He doesn't have the range damage increase. That's another area where DeMu is stomping him.
Yeah, has the blacksmith upgrades. Now some villager idle time is getting forced with the Keshiks. Zerton now moving out once again. And DeMu, he's prepping the Rams. He wants to go fully all in.
Don't blame him. Now, it's kind of dicey up against the Mongols, right? Because they'll just pack up and walk away. But if they're packed up and walking, they ain't producing. That's good enough for him. So temporarily, Tim will give a little bit of space here. Now, he's not got Castle Age on the mind. He's looking for a way to end this game. Trade is still occurring on that left side, probably about 8 traders. But I don't think that's going to be enough. Sapahi just tank him for that front line, right? That's all he really needs right now, because the thing that Zerton is lacking is a tank of his own. Only a few Keshiks now stabbing for the backside, but Spearman quick to react with the pullback. So Zerton just kind of disabled from this fight. If this turns into an archer-on-archer exchange, that is always going to favor the Ottomans. In fact, those Keshiks literally just ran by, got killed off, and wondered what their role was.
Overall, though, this wasn't the worst trade right now for Zerton. The destruction value is actually in his favor right now.
He's doing a good job, actually. The Spearman count. Wait, was that the last one? Oh, DeMu. Imam keeps the meta alive! But barely.
Oh, he's going again.
I mean, I don't blame him right now. Look at the archer count. He's still with the aura working here, and Zerton, he needs to overkill into the meta, finally gets rid of it. But after all is said and done, and they're reduced on both sides, I'm wondering, like, who comes out ahead? Like, Zerton looks like he might have enough gold to now go raiding with Keshiks if he cleans up these archers.
Barracks isn't being packed up, loses that building, pulls some villagers now to repair. Imams aren't getting sniped out right now. Rams are falling back. Archer count here still looking good for Zerton, but the reinforcements.
Those imams are permanent though, right? Like, that's now just a critical loss in a game where you're not going Castle Age. I think DeMu, he read this as an easy reap, but in the end, he's the one who ends up 6 feet under after that. Barely any archers remaining. Rams aren't going to get cleaned up, sure, but the thing I want everyone to be conscious of is the trade is still going. It's bustling. Look at the eco difference in this game now. 20 ahead for Zerton in climbing.
And the Keshiks are eking out ahead now. Archer numbers very low, not able to immediately snipe out all of those Keshiks. And the last Imam remaining is on very, very low health right now.
Yeah, and now that's like the last life. No, oh my god, there's another building. Please tell me he doesn't lose this because he has no buildings, because that would be the worst way for this to go, because right now Zerton is building a lead. Despite what's happening on the military count, right, it's like these Keshiks are quite tanky and the eco is scaling behind this. But I gotta give it to DeMu. He's somehow scraping this out. The second line of reinforcements. This is not easy to do, by the way. A fight that kind of looked even, and then you get this awkward issue where your opponent has production advantage. But because Zerton loses the racks and the archery range, he now lacks the ability to scale that back line.
This is a very difficult position all of a sudden for Zerton. He lost all of the archers. Now he does have an Uvu somewhere. Does have 500 stone in the bank, but no production on that Uvu. Could be getting 5 double-produced archers out.
I mean, this is tough. Like, this is a game where if it wasn't for those Rams, like those Rams, which, by the way, let's be real, I think everyone, us included, were like, that's a wasted investment. That's not doing anything. These Rams were MVP. These Rams are the reason why DeMu is now got Zerton on the ropes, and look at where he's going. To the backline trade. If he shuts that down, if he turns the valve on that, prevents that production of Keshiks, Zerton really doesn't have a leg to stand on from there.
Zerton is heavily pivoting into more and more Keshiks now. Meanwhile, there's not too many spearmen remaining for DeMu. This could also be a big factor here. Now the archer numbers are buffing, getting buffed up again. Does now have an archery range on that Uvu. And if DeMu commits here, he might get caught off guard. Actually, never mind. The Keshiks aren't going there.
God.
Villagers.
It's not just villagers, it's traders. There's just so many archers. They're going to snipe out the trade. They're probably going to snipe out 6, 7 of these villages. And that's considerable losses considering the passive scaling. DeMu, which, by the way, behind this is now contemplating Castle Age. He's willing to trade the archers out to get the age-up advantage and shrink Zerton's eco.
Zerton only now turning around only with the archers, though. Doesn't have enough archers here. He needed to be there with the Keshiks as well. He could have cleaned up the entire army there at that point in time.
This is messy, man. This is so messy. Like, look across the map, the scattering of everything here from both sides, right? Zerton's trying to put out a million fires. DeMu is just running around the neighborhood with Molotov cocktails in his hands. And while he's doing that, he's buying up all the property at a discount. And what I mean by that is he's getting the big greed advantage. Food's about to be gathered. Castle Age is on the horizon. And because Zerton on a delay reacts to this with the Keshiks, he now has no way of punishing it.
Right now the Keshiks are running behind all of those archers. But the archers, they're just running down the trade. Zerton needs to pull the traders back.
DeMu! Like,
You.
could you offer him more right now? It's like you've just stuck DeMu in a chair, put him in front of a conveyor belt, and you're feeding him cake! He could be happier!
He's not sending the traders back. And now the Mehmet Imperial Armory is coming in. Certain. His food income right now, he is far away from the next stage. And the economy count is pretty much equalized.
I mean, honestly, like he's like, okay, we're pretty much even. You got any more trades you want to send through, or is that it? It looks like the good news at least is Zerton has sent the trade the other bloody way, but the damage truly is already done. And keep in mind, folks, this is not a weak tech up. After losing those archers, they will almost be neck and neck in terms of military count. And sure, the Keshiks are a premium unit, but up against Castle Age variants, they're going to look pretty weak.
And behind that DeMu, he's now massing up Spearman and Sipahi. Sipahi, also very, very strong raid unit. And with the veterancy upgrade, I mean, as soon as they find any villagers, and there are a bunch of grouped up villagers right now for certain on different resources, if he finds them, he can kill them out very, very quickly.
Don't mind if I do. Might also find villagers down on the berry line. This, dude, it's somehow just turned into such a scrappy mess. This was bold, by the way. DeMu, he's been playing out into berry patches despite the fact he's up against Keshiks because he just doesn't care. Straight in on the trade, activates the fortitude. Zerton will see no pennies slipping into his piggy bank as his Keshik count is likely to just stall entirely.
Raiders still moving into the Sipahi.
Oh, God.
How is it turned
into this? How is it actually turned into this, Crackedy? This is the messiest, bloodiest, most beautiful game we've had all series.
It's a lot of mental fortitude, I gotta say. Okay, Zerton, get some more villager kills here.
It's like, really want those berries. Come on, don't do it to me, buddy. Okay, I'll take out the traders on the other side. One Keshik is not going to win that fight. Army now comes in to clean up, and B's upgraded. That's going to be an instant wipe of half the Keshiks. No other reaction elsewhere. Dive comes into the base. We'll find one or two villages for his trouble. Zerton doing everything he can to play the Mongol like that rampant horde everywhere at once because it's the only way he'll be able to get back in this game.
Archers got stuck a little bit on that mining camp with the A move. Still 9 Keshiks out in the field, but the income, it feels like Zerton, he's so far away right now from the next age. DeMu, though, he's been a knight on gold, so he's not getting any upgrades, but does he need to? Because Zerton is just feeding him value here all the time.
I mean, I'm going to upgrade that. That Sipahi earned a promotion. He's now the Colonel. Good God. And the Colonel cannot be stopped. Keshik's now arriving here. But those Sipahi, they haven't yet been upgraded. It seems DeMu's not really interested in that right now, prioritizing the spears and the archers for good reason. It means his quality can beat the quantity here. This is going from bad to worse, because the issue is now this is like a spiraling death circle right now for Zerton, right? If he can't scale the trade, he can never maintain army count and tech up. And he has to know as time goes on, this is a losing battle. But maybe he can turn it around if he finds picks like this. Catches the villagers once again playing greed, takes out a few of them, and forces a reaction from DeMu maybe earlier than he wanted.
This is still an archer on archer battle. And with these numbers right now, even the upgrade doesn't really do too much here. Still 2 metas remaining.
I mean, I think he loses all the archers here. If Zerton stays here, he just dies. Like, yeah, line formation, just run for the high hills. This is more ground forfeited, and do you know what the depressing part is? He just dealt with the supply on his trade. Are we about to see archers, the hungry hippos, come back again? I think so.
And behind that, the first mangonel has come out as well. Now there are 9 Keshiks out, but Keshiks, right now, they only have 4 armor against a unit that has 8 pierce damage.
Meta, like, he hates his life. He's gone. So Aura's at least been removed. It's still a castle versus feudal age unit. Keshik's raiding on the side is going to be the big deal here. Once again, DeMu just kind of playing sticky on these berry patches and being punished for it. But DeMu does have that strong hit point, right? This mangonel is a shark in a water full of poor, malnourished teenagers. I wondered where I was going with that. I was like, what is going to die to a shark? Pretty much anything.
Oh, Keshiks take down the knight there. Lots of idled out villagers here.
He needs food. Like, that's the issue right now. Look how many villagers there are and look at his food right now. 23 food and that's it.
Yeah, the question's gonna be, is DeMu's standing army enough right now to really dive into what Zerton has?
I actually
or rather
think
be able to protect
so,
himself.
right? Like it's kind of weird that this archers, their effective HP, it's 10 extra, like a 10%, like what was it? So percentage wise, it's actually higher than 10%. It's like what, 20% higher than what it would be if you were feudal. So if you just body block any charge into the mangonel, you got to remember like the damage difference means these Keshiks also get the teeth kicked out of them. Speaking of which, the villagers are psychos. Like what was that? The fact that he ran away as well is like, nope. We don't mess with them.
Out of position potentially.
Okay, DeMu, I think he knows it's dead, so he's just going to try to extract as much value on the Keshiks. We'll snipe out a few of them. Army count, more even here in terms of firepower. Raw numbers have to be there for Zerton, though. The exchanges come in. Meta's going to move to the backside of the formation. And, well, Keshiks will just try to take out those reinforcements with just 1 or 2 men-at-arms. The A-clicks, man. How is that man alive?
So he's going back in, though. Gets sniped out this time around. But the army from Zerton is evaporating behind this.
And the problem is, like, when this happened last time, he had, like, 8 Keshiks that were raiding. Look at the Keshik count now. Look at where they are. In fact, he's going to get wiped here because of the 3 men-at-arms. It truly could just be a Jean type effect where just 3 heavily armored units force the GG, and DeMu will head on through the EGC finals with a 6-2, or 4-2 rather, win over Zerton in this best of 7.